Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach you a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. As we are live here, getting a little echo, so we'll get you straight here with a couple of other things going on as we get going. But we are in Humble when we talk about it.
DNA Studios
For the SWAC Media Day. So excited about what that looks like as we move forward in the things here. So just wanted to get your thoughts as we started with the women yesterday. And now we're on to the men's.
Yes.
What were your first thoughts in terms of the women yesterday?
You know, it's always funny, the coaches and the players, before competition starts, everybody's all smiles and things of that nature during a media day. But one of the things that I mentioned yesterday, I'm really excited about a lot of parity on the women's side of the ball. It's going to be a phenomenal season. I think you got a lot of great players coming back for each team, a lot of the rosters. I think that's one of the things that the coaches were talking about yesterday. A lot of the rosters are still intact in terms of star players from last year, and they added a few pieces. So they're really looking at what they expect to be quite a bit of parity on the women's side of the ledger.
Good stuff. So did you agree with the predicted order of finish? Did you have any thoughts and questions in terms of what that looked like? Obviously at the top, Jackson State, Southern 2, and Pine Bluff 3 in terms of those top 3 programs.
Yeah, I think on paper those would be the stronger teams. I think we've seen over the past few years. Alabama State always has their hands in the mix. Alabama A&M has come on strong, but I think those 3 teams, Jackson State, UAPB, Southern, they're very strong. And they bring back a lot of pieces from last year. And then UAPB, they bring back Shea Green, who I think is going to be definitely one of those players to keep an eye on.
Well, I see you doing your homework.
Yeah, it's early. We're in the middle of football season, but we got to keep an eye. Got to keep an eye on everything.
So we're waiting on the top order finish, and we'll see if we can slide in some coaching interview here. They're moving around, as you can kind of see with the players. The way it's set up is you have it full set up in terms of ESPN, where you can actually get in with Miss Tiffany Green, providing interviews with players throughout the day. And then you have a photo session. So the men today will put on the uniforms and take some action shots, get some laughter and get some fun. You'll have some virtual interviews where folks will get to call in terms of the news media to talk about them. And you have HBCU Go doing interviews. So HBCU Go is up at the top. We're here right at the intro. So we'll give you some ins and outs and some pictures so you can kind of see coaches talking and as they're prepping and getting ready for things of that nature. Everything is pretty much on schedule. But you see the FAMU players, Texas Southern, Jackson State mingling around, things of that nature. And things are getting moving.
Yeah, things are getting moving.
What are your thoughts in terms of today's action and who you're predicting you're going to?
Well, I think the fun part is that the coaches are already talking boys.
Oh, man, they came in here. Quickly saw it was just good-natured banner.
Yes,
That's it. I ain't got no players on the first team, second team.
And
where I finished, I must have been coach of the year.
I know, it's funny how they all look at that stuff. They all use every little morsel.
Because coaches like, what you mean you coach of the year?
Exactly.
Bussy, you got all this. Oh, man, these folks are hard up into it. And they looking sharp, man. They got the Clothes on, suits, booted, bow ties. Man, they look clean.
Very
Conference
clean.
colors,
Yes, indeed.
logos out. Got a
Yes,
couple
indeed.
of ADs, VPs here in the mix.
Mhm.
What else is your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, I think that jumped out at me. The branding, you see Mississippi Valley in the green suits and things of that nature. So, they're like you said, everybody's sharp. But I think it's the camaraderie, it's the calm before the storm, if you will, going into the season. A lot of excitement for a lot of these young men in terms of coming into the season. And who was that team that can, you know, Texas Southern was had a so-so regular season, and they were standing there at the end last year in terms of hoisting another banner to go into HBCU in terms of winning the SWAC tournament. So who's that team that's going to challenge Texas Southern? Because we've seen over the years, Texas Southern, they just elevate their level of play once they get to the tournament.
Yeah, good point. When you talk about that, specifically with Texas Southern, people kind of got the information on and got that a lot of that is because they had injuries early in the season, which played out not into the favor in terms of getting wins. But once they got going, they seemed to pull it on. And they are obviously a different team in the tournament.
Different team.
They just have a focused mindset in terms of being there. It's been wild in terms of what that looks like in terms of those takes.
I remember tournament last year, we saw P.J. Henry at times put that Texas Southern team on his shoulders. He's here at SWAC Media Day representing Texas Southern along with Kenny Hunter. But I think the other thing that you kind of take a look at, because what we've seen over the past few years, especially with regards to college basketball, is there's a lot of roster churning. So you almost you get an opportunity to learn who an almost new team.
And it's funny because you traditionally can do that, like in football during non-conference play. You kind of get the folks, but in basketball, some of those matchups are so wide and varied that where they're traveling to home, you don't always get a true feeling of what that looks like in terms of those cases. So it's fascinating when you first get into conference play a couple of games, you do that. But with that said, obviously Southern last year got out to a great start, and they've done that in the last couple of years, and then they kind of took their back end swoon, which in a lot of ways caused what we see now, the coaching change. So that's going to be interesting to see what that looks like.
Yeah, and what sort of style does he bring to Southern basketball? It's a tough fan base to please, and he's going to have his word cut out for him, but obviously up for the challenge, and a lot of excitement around Southern basketball.
Yeah, good points when you say what's going to be there. One of the other questions that I'm interested in, I'm going to talk to some of the coaches about, is you see here I have my HBCU Challenge shirt on from last year when I got to get up to Las Vegas, see that matchup. I got to see the Sunday edition, and I'll do that then. I'll do that again. I'll get up there because it happens to be played the same weekend as the Celebration Bowl. Yeah. So I'll get up to Celebration Bowl early.
Double dipping that weekend.
Yeah, double dipping. But what are your thoughts on those kind of matchups when you bring in other HBCUs? In this case, you'll get a team from the MEAC. You get one of what we call now the independent program participate in that game. Texas Southern will face off against Howard and North Carolina A&T.
Love to see it, and you love to see sometimes the contrast in styles, or the regionality, if you will. Sometimes when you have a MEAC team play a SWAC team, and what does it look like? And then, like you said, you get an opportunity to see well-branded teams face off against each other. So you look forward to these type matchups.
Yeah, my understanding is Jackson State's in it, right? And so they'll face off against Howard and North Carolina A&T. What are your thoughts in terms of that match?
Looking forward to it because Howard, toward the end of the season last year, they caught fire in the MEAC tournament, and then they put a scare in that first half there in the NCAA tournament. So looking forward to what they bring back and how does this Jackson State team match up? Key entry, I think that it's going to play out for the Jackson State. They lost to John coming into the season. So who will take up that scoring slack?
Had to remind me of that. That was tough to see that for a young person with so much excitement coming into it, as you know.
Exactly. And a new face to the conference too. I think I was really looking forward to seeing what he could do within the conference. Former McDonald's All-American. Young man who I had an opportunity to watch up close at Callaway High in Jackson, Mississippi, and a guy who could fill it up. But you're going to have to, fill those shoes, if you will, because he's a guy who could really score.
You also have the Michael B. Jordan Legacy Classic in New Jersey. which is the first time it will feature SWAC schools. You have Grambling and Jackson State moving that game. Last year, that was a classic matchup between those two as they played in the All-Star weekend game. Now they're taking that contest on the road. What are your thoughts in terms of those kind of matchups where, again, you're bringing a MEAC SWAC type of matchups specifically in that? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, again, I'm kind of marvel at Jackson State with the travel schedule here because they're getting an opportunity to expose the Jackson State brand to other parts of the country. So I think that's huge for Jackson State's basketball program. And like we said, recruiting is the lifeblood of everything. So anytime you can put the product on the road and let other people see it, I think that's huge for the program.
You see Bethune-Cookman just came into the building.
Reggie Theus,
head coach there. Ready to get some stuff done. Can he take that next step? They played some really exciting basketball, close matchups, knocked off some top teams, but they're a little bit of inconsistency. Can they get the consistency and play at the top of the match? What are your thoughts in terms of Bethune-Cookman and Theus overall last year, and then what you can expect coming in this season?
Yeah, up and down, because we saw that they had the ability to have that scoring punch that could knock off some top teams. But like you said, it was a bit of a riding the wave. You never knew which Bethune-Cookman team that you would get. So I think that's one of the fascinating things that you kind of want to ask coaches in terms of evaluating yourself last year and what did you do to get yourself in a better position this year to kind of challenge for the claim.
No doubt. Good stuff that you're bringing on to the board there. We're going to see if we can maybe bring in Chris, the Houston Roundball Review, par excellence in terms of basketball. And that's all levels, men's and women's, in terms of what he's able to do.
Exactly.
So we'll sneak him in there. He's talking to Coach Byron Smith of Prairie View A&M University, trying to get some insight, they get it done.
He's always working the angle. He's
you know what? You see Jackson State
column.
in the uniforms that they get prepared, just taking their pictures and switch back up, get it on. Big man there, Manza. Played some great basketball last year.
Yeah, you got Chase Adams here, and then you also got for Jackson State, like you said, big man. I think he led them in rebounding last year. So they brought him here, Mansell, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, big man, Mansell, big dog. You see Cavil over there on the side. Yeah, a little thickness in that big brother there.
Very much so, exactly.
He don't get in his way, it turns out. Let's see if we can sneak and get Chris. Chris, we're going to see if we can get you in here in a little bit to talk a little bit of basketball. You don't mind, Coach? Yeah, I know you sit up there and bother you, Coach. We're going to try to give you a break and talk your head off. Yeah, so we got Chris, man. If y'all don't know, this is Houston Roundball Review. We just talking about basketball extraordinaire. That's men's, women's, Olympics. And you've been doing this for how long, Chris?
1994.
You're an OG in the game.
I thought I was a little
right.
quiet secret. He actually brought me in, and we started doing podcasts. Houston Fifth Ward Wildcat Roundball Review, as we did.
That's equipment, though. We come a long way.
Yeah, we actually built up some of that equipment over a period of time. But now you're right. Now we really to the next level. That was just purely podcast sound.
Yeah.
And then we introduced some video, and now we're streaming big time. So what are your general thoughts in terms of basketball in the SWAC?
Coach Jones, TSU, as long as he's around, TSU is going to be a team in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
They're healthy. They'll be better than they were last year. Because last year, the injuries got them. They were devastated by injuries. But got healthy at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
EC last year going into the tournament. I mean, there was some questions. They make the tournament.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It was one game away.
When they got there, that first game, you realize.
You always had a question about turning on the switch. What is it about Texas Southern that seems that they just tournament ready, tournament play?
Coach Jones, that's that winning mentality, championship mentality. And he spreads to his players the confidence that he instills in them. Mm-hmm. That I believe you guys, it's a new tournament. It's a new time of the season. It's a tournament. It's time for us to shine and show everybody that what I believe is true. That we're the best team in this way. That's why we get it done.
Well, let me ask this question, and we've seen Texas Southern and Prairie View in recent years really take that next step or turn it on in the tournament, if you will. But what does that say about the state of basketball in Texas or the state of basketball in Houston, where these teams are really vying for eyeballs, if you will, in terms of
talent?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this because I'm old now. I saw Coach Smith play in college in Houston. We go back a long way. I've known Coach Cavil for a long time, Coach Jones for a long time. They all know each other. So they kind of have the same coaching philosophy. They're disciplined. They expect a lot from their players. They preach toughness. And that's a Houston trait, I think, that the city adopts and appreciates. Prairie's a little bit out of the way, but we still call it Houston. We claim that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we appreciate
that toughness. Yeah, I know that too. But toughness part of Houston basketball. It's a culture, and the fans appreciate it. And all three of us talked about it. We still would like to see more fans come to the games for everybody.
Sure.
TSU, PV, Houston doing a great job. But still, basketball is my first sport, so I'll always push for basketball and encourage fans to come out and support our area teams.
good stuff. Let's talk a little bit more about Prairie. Smith, you had a chance to talk with him. Like you said, y'all go back. So you're really able to get in some dialogue that everybody might not be able to get when he talks about his style of coaching, the players he likes to recruit, and ultimately what do you see him being able to get done this year?
It comes down to shooting, health, first thing. There were health issues. But I always ask Coach Smith, and to this day, he has not had a player be a better three-point shooter than him. And he will always say he's the best shooter, always, every year. Is this year you finally got a shooter better than you? No. I'm still the best shooter on the team. He's a confident man. But at some point, it's up to the players to prove him wrong and be that best shooter on the team. I don't think this year has changed.
Well, that brings up actually an interesting question, because you mentioned Coach Smith being the best three-point shooter, but he probably comes from a generation or an era where there was probably a lot of coaching in terms of shooting, whereas we've transitioned more into a lot of AAU ball, and I'm not sure the instruction is different. Okay, that's probably the best to say it. But I mean, in terms of guys who can shoot, I mean, what is it that where's the trend line in terms of how it's looking at?
It's more range, because Steph Curry and Dame have made that more of a thing to shoot further away from the basket. But Damian Lillard, he works on that. He practices taking 30-footers, 35-footers, and shooting 40% from three. The youngsters, and I'm like I said, I'm getting old again. They don't. It's so much isolation now in training. Trainers now just basketball.
I see.
It's just only basketball. I believe in, when we were growing up, we played all sports.
Yeah.
We did everything. So our bodies were well-rounded to compete in football, basketball, baseball. Now when you just play basketball all the time, your body is different. Your health is different. Your recovery time, AAU. Kids play 3-4 times on Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday morning. And then they got to do high school games in the fall. When are you going to rest and recover?
I see.
So you need legs to make threes.
Sure.
And over the years, just like anything, it compounds.
Yeah.
So you think youthful, you may not really feel it or see it, but your body is what they're doing that wear and tear.
Which goes, and the wear and tear goes into one of our HBCU issues, is the courts aren't the same, aren't in terms of the as you call it, the quality of the courts. That pounding, that wear and tear takes a toll on the young men and the young ladies playing on these hard courts. These legs.
So we have more people moving in here. We got some media that is showing up to get in here, and again, you'll see in the small picture there, you get a little bit of background. You have Coach just doing his thing.
All these dapper men today, looking sharp. Yeah.
This is par excellence. This is a good look. Anything else you want to share in terms of the day?
I'm looking forward to Coach Mo Williams.
Yeah.
Y'all got to see him.
Yeah,
got to see him.
I think at the very beginning,
he
people
came in
loud. Got a little glimpse of what he had on.
Yeah, but you got to see the outfit though. Yeah, he's sharp.
Talk about the outfit.
The hat is something. The hat is on point. The hat is on point. Y'all gonna love that.
Powder blue mixed in with the blue.
Yeah.
You blue on that.
Yeah.
And Mo Williams is a Kelvin Sampson. Man, I don't say disciple. He really looks up to Coach Sampson.
Really?
So he's talked about it, how much he admires Coach Sampson. And
You know, if they got a chance to talk, do they talk? Or they come across each other? I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Because when how can I say this without anything out of turn? But when State was in for the swing, PV-TSU swing, they had an off day. They were at Houston. Coach Williams came by to talk to Coach Sampson, just to pick his brain, touch base with him, talk basketball, talk life.
Sure.
It's a small world, man.
Yeah.
You know, you don't realize who folks know.
Culture fraternity there.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's huge when you talk about that and what that looks like, who you know. Yeah, but he came in to the second part, which is really fun. He came in here talking to me. He said, "Man, it's like the champ is here."
Yeah. I'm curious to see how have the poll been announced yet.
No, they haven't.
That's what I'm waiting to see.
Curious. We all
because
excited.
the coaches know who I guess they've seen. They know the results, but I want to see who it is. So for sure.
Yeah.
The preseason.
But I'm not going to say anything about the preseason poll because come tournament time, I'm still picking TSU.
Yeah. Hey,
it's hard not to.
Right?
Yeah, all right.
But let me ask you this: if you couldn't pick TSU, who's the next in line?
Probably Jackson State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Charles?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, I think they had some pieces last year, and they seemingly turned a corner.
Yep.
I think midway through the season, where they kind of picked up a little bit of steam going down the stretch, and they proved themselves to be worthy in the tournament. I think they won the first round game, got to the second round, and played a tough matchup there. But I think they're a team that's poised to make that next step.
Good stuff. Great point. So, are you picking Jackson State? If Texas Southern, you can't pick Texas Southern. I take them off the board. Are you going with Jackson State to win the tournament, or you got somebody else?
I think Jackson State PV will be right there in the mix somewhere.
To win the tournament or win the regular season?
The regular season is different
Yeah.
animal. Yeah.
Let's get into a little bit of that. I like that.
Okay.
Because, obviously, tournament is kind of like playoffs for the NBA. Right. That's where you make your fame.
Right.
As we go back to the legendary Magic said, regular season, people know the name, right?
Yep.
If you want to make the fame, it's the tournament. Right. So we talked a little bit about the tournament. So we see who got the fame. Texas Southern clearly got the fame. They get it done. Over the last decade between coaches.
Right. Yep. Think about that. Yeah, the consistency of it all. Yeah.
Right. So let's go with regular season. It's a little bit different of late. Yeah, some other teams have been able to mix it in.
Right.
Get a championship. Credit to Alcorn.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Bussey,
Coach
right?
Bussey, yeah. Mm-hmm. They're in the mix.
Which direction you going to with the regular season and why?
Regular season, I mean, Coach Bussey's done a great job.
Yeah.
Why?
Can he do it again? Well,
he can coach.
First.
Yeah, he can coach.
Well, I mean,
I say that.
But what is it about his style?
In terms of people have this misconception that coaching in HBCUs and SWAC is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like the talent level is bad. It's not.
Right.
It's just undercovered.
Yeah.
And it's underappreciated. And that's why I salute Doc and UNCB for doing a great job promoting
Thank you.
HBCUs. But of course, SWAC is our area in H-Town. We coach in SWAC.
Yeah.
Very
much so.
And the players are here.
And
Players
I
are starting to
will
realize that
tell
too.
you the checks in the mail, but one I already paid.
Right. Thank you. I got it. Yeah.
And we don't use that. We use Cash App.
That's right. That's right. We're
So
trying to
with
be
that
modern like
said,
the youngsters. Yeah.
the other reason I'm going to say that is I know you mean it.
Yeah,
that you're
for
serious
sure.
about
Yeah.
that as we joke and stuff like that. But getting back to that question, I'm going to go to you next, Charles. So I want to hear this. Or do you want to think about it a little bit?
Go ahead.
Regular season, Charles. Top 2 or 3 teams that you believe are going to be in the fight. You can go 4 deep if you want to in terms of regular season. Speaking of that, Grambling State have players walking through. They've been in the mix, and quietly, they have been a stable program in terms.
Alcorn, Grambling, TSU. That's probably my 3. I go with my 3 right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Charles, where you going? Florida schools get in A&M. I heard A&M. I heard that Alabama A&M.
That's the question.
Recruited some players.
And A&M has some players, but
And I talked to Pettaway on this. Coach Pettaway knows basketball, but he's a fan too. So
and it depends on I think the health of Texas Southern. But,
of course.
But PJ Henry is a different player.
he's a man.
Yeah. Like
They got him
we've
back
seen
too.
him.
He had wandering eyes.
Right. We've seen him put the team on his back at times.
And you see how important he was
Legendary
in the
Coach
tournament.
Ivan with it
because when he was injured, how much they missed him.
Very much
He,
so.
he
no
is the
doubt.
engine
Very
that makes
much
them go.
Yeah.
When he's back,
Yeah.
No doubt. I'm gonna ask you this question. I asked Tim to go back to that a little bit. Is Chris Paul, tournament in Las Vegas?
yes.
Michael B. Jordan, Legacy Classic, in New
Chris
Jersey.
CP got 2.
Yeah,
HBCU,
and he does.
right.
He has the
Right.
2. He does the other one out there for Division 2. I'm glad you brought that up because I was so focused on Division 1 as well. I literally skipped past me, even though I know that. What are your thoughts in terms of these classics? One, professional players, or actors, entertainers getting involved to help make it happen. And two, the fact that you have these matchups that are featured in regards to HBCUs playing conference and programs that are HBCUs as well that they don't normally play.
It's about time. It's past due, but I'm glad it's
Yeah.
taking place. I'm glad Chris Paul is really spearheading it.
Yeah.
And I want to piggyback off one thing, Coach Jones. He's probably mentioned to you guys as well, but in his interview segment with me, he mentioned how well run the events are and have been.
And that's so important.
It is.
Yeah.
Very, very much so.
That the athletes have a great
Yeah,
experience.
and that's because the other institutions, the PWIs, as Doc, told me years ago about, their tournaments and classics are run so well organized in terms of everything. The accommodations,
little
the
thing.
food, most definitely.
But they're huge.
Yeah.
When you're talking about young folks and want to return back and want to leave a good impression, absolutely. The itinerary.
Yes, and everything is organized and taken care of. Players don't have to worry about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Jones says it was just a great experience for them to be in, and looking forward to doing it again in December.
That's huge.
Yeah, I get to go on the backside of that. I'll do the celebration bowl
Okay.
that Wednesday, Saturday, then I fly out, and then I'll be in Las Vegas and come home.
Because
back.
that's Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
Yep.
I'll be back. So I fly literally out after the game
Okay.
and get to Las Vegas.
We might have to do something, Doc. Go to hang out in Vegas. We might have to do that. Yeah.
Makes sense to me. Let's get it done.
And welcome back here, Dr. Mills, inside the HBCU Sports Lab. As we got some technical difficulties knocked out, but representing Mississippi Valley State, Danny Washington and Raekwon Brown, Coach George Ivory. Prairie View, they have Andre Nunley and McKinley Harris. Coach Byron Smith, of course, representing the PVA&M Panthers. Southern, their new head coach, Coach Kevin Johnson, representing the Southern Jaguars, Ron Wilkins and Brandon Davis. Texas Southern has brought P.J. Henry and Kenny Hunter here to SWAC Media Day, Coach Johnny Jones. UAPB, they have brought with them Joe French, Rashad Williams, of course, Coach Solomon Bozeman here with UAPB. So those are coaches and players representing the various institutions here at SWAC Basketball Media Day.
Good stuff there when you talk about representing on that behalf. And so we're going to give you a little more backdrop in terms of folks coming back in and things of that nature. And we'll turn the camera back on us for a minute when that goes to happening and things of that nature. But what are your thoughts? Do you see anything in regards to who they brought and what the coaches may have been thought? I know it can really be separate between different programs. But what are your thoughts on that thus far?
Yeah, you always take notice of it. It seems as though every coach brought their point guard, who is like an extension. It's like an extension of themselves. So a lot of coaches have brought their point guards here today. And interestingly enough, we got quite a few big men walking around here. A lot of 6-foot guys and 7-foot guys walking around here. But what jumps out immediately is, the floor general, if you will, is always in the mix somewhere representing the team. So that's one of the things that you take a look at. Chase Adams from Jackson State, P.J. Henry, two of the better point guards in the league, of course, representing Jackson State and Texas Southern, respectively.
Good stuff. When you talk about getting into who's here, those point guards, so quintessential. We've seen that for decades in the SWAC.
Guard
play. As a point guard play. And when you get you a good one, boy, it's the difference between just being in the middle of the mix or being in there. As we talk about it, walking in, now the Bulldogs that I told you a little bit about earlier, Alabama A&M, boy, they were playing really well in the middle part of that season. Got it going and got into the tournament there in terms of what that looks like. Hey, how's it going? Doing well, Coach. Appreciate it, Coach.
Good to see you, well? Sir.
Yes, hey, so I got into the tournament, and I was a little nervous of what they could get done. But I'd imagine this year being different. And you talk about that new arena. So I was just down there last week for the Alabama A&M homecoming versus Tuskegee on the football field. But I was going to find a way to go into the basketball arena. And see
no doubt.
And it is everything they talk about, everything you see when you're in it. It is nice.
That's huge. That's huge for recruiting.
Yeah, and it's not just the facilities, but in terms of the basketball court and obviously the arena with the size and the newness, but it's all the contributory items that you have associated in terms of the tubs, rooms, locker rooms, all that stuff is state of art. So it's like big time.
Speaking of state of the art, Texas Southern new scoreboard in the HPNE. So you gotta make sure to mention that. Yeah.
Oh, you got to get that in there. It's big time. It's nice. Fans will be excited when they get to come see the Tigers at home for that. Obviously, they had the Fan Fest. They opened it up where all the Texas Southern teams were there to have a chance to be discussed with those programs out there. So it's fascinating. A little weird weather here as the rains are coming in. They stayed away a little bit, but it's drizzling here and there for the last few days.
Houston weather. You just wait. It will show you what it wants to show you whenever it wants to show it to you. So we've had a summer of drought, and then we get it all in the next 2 days here during media day. So flood conditions right now in Houston. So
get back in. And so with that being said, let's talk a little bit more as we continue to wait for the official release of the preseason player of the year. Do you have a hint or thought who it may be in terms of offense, defense, any idea?
I'm expecting P.J. Henry, offensive player of the year. I would expect him to be right there in the mix. We've seen what he's been able to do in the SWAC over the past 3 seasons now, and especially him turning up his play in tournament the past 2 seasons. Defensive player of the year, that could go any different direction. But I believe when you got rebounders like my guy Mizell from Jackson State, he's one of the top shot blockers in the league. But I think like I said, the other thing that kind of jumps out at me here is who are the new faces that are coming into the conference?
Now you get me excited. You're right. Who are going to be some of these new faces? Who the names? Where they coming from? What they about? How are they going to be effective or change the league? And what can they get done? In terms of what that looks like, it's really fascinating to talk so much about this game that we love. Any type of style of play that you think really fits well in the SWAC?
You know, to me, I think over the past few seasons, we've seen it go from kind of a up and down, fast pace type game to more of a strong defensive play, and that's something that's kind of caught my eye over the past couple of seasons. Where
that's going to be my follow-up question.
Yeah.
But keep going with that in terms of defense, because I'm going to ask you specifically about that in terms of who are your top defensive squads that catches your eye in terms of what they're able to do to stop teams from that side of the ball. Particularly last year, you can give you a little bit of hint who's up in the rankings defensively, who's able to lock down, particularly in the last part of the game. If it's a close game, who's you think is able to get the stops? Who are some of the teams that you want to focus on from that point?
Grambling comes to mind because they were long.
But they had some
guys like Cameron Christian were pretty good in terms of being able to harass guards and things of that nature with his length and his size. So those teams, Coach Byron Smith,
and they were long on every position.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Especially on the wings.
Times you'll see your wings. You get some decent height in there. A couple times you get some big men, but some teams will have smaller guards. Sure. They actually had big guards as well.
They had big guards as well. So that was a team that really jumped out at me. They were limiting teams to 62 points a game last year. So they really knew how to batten down the hatches, turn up the screws, put the clamps down on the defense side of the ball. Byron Smith, that is part of his DNA. That's what he preaches. You're gonna always see a Prairie team that's at least in the top 3 in the league in terms of total defense. But another team that was right up there last year was UAPB. Especially you had the scoring from Sean Dawson, and they had a pretty good defense where they can kind of clamp you down a little bit too. But Grambling jumped out at you last year, and you saw during the course of the regular season, they were every bit as advertised in terms of defense.
Yeah, good stuff when you talk about that in terms of the teams. And team, is there any individual that you may want to focus on, or do we need to look a little more based on who comes in? What that may look like offensively? Let's go in that direction. Who are some of the teams that seem to be able to do a better job of filling in the hole, putting the ball in the hole, as they say?
Alabama A&M had great guard play last year. They could really score with you.
Jackson State, man, I told you.
I like that, the powder blue, man. And people don't understand that light blue. That's that Sonic Boom blue from yesteryear. People I've been trying to give people history and things of that nature, but that's that. Throw back to the Sonic Boom 70s, 80s era, where that blue was sort of an accent, just like the red. People get so tied up into the blue and white that they don't understand.
They don't know the history. And it's funny because oftentimes it's people from the outside.
Yeah.
They're talking about, man, they need to wear their traditional colors. Whether it's the powder blue from the Sonic Boom of the South, or whether it's the red trim.
Yeah, W.C. Gordon.
W.C. Gordon, the head coach there, bring in. So. Yeah, that's clean. I'm going to have to get a picture while you're doing that. So.
Yeah. And you can see Coach Mo Williams, not only does he have the powder blue, but even with the hat, he got the red accent.
I'm going to step out. I got to get my shot.
Indeed. As Doc takes a couple pictures there of the Jackson State team looking extremely sharp. But, we talked about some of the top offensive teams in the SWAC and things of that nature. Southern Alabama A&M taking Southern jumps out. He's bringing Mo Williams in now. Jackson, Mississippi native Mo Williams came back and took over the Jackson State program last year.
How long is it going to take?
5 minutes. Whatever time you got.
Well, they got it.
Yeah, they got the next. So we'll do 5.
Hey, Roski, where your phone at? Take a picture.
Tell these folks.
Man, we social, baby. We still young. Social media popping.
Yeah, it is.
Sure is. I'm going to get mine in. Coach, check this out. Make sure I get that in. Good luck. Coach, how's it going?
Hey, I'm great. Great. Excited to be here. I appreciate the SWAC putting this on for us. I think it's great. I always watched the football and felt like basketball needed it too. So I'm grateful to be a part of such a great group of guys. Obviously coaches and players, and I'm having fun, man. I'm having fun.
Yeah, I saw it. When you came in, you announced yourself. You livened up the room because it was kind of quiet. Folks were,
well, they know
it's tight. Because new spot and
best
stuff
dress,
like that.
best coach, best team. I mean, what you know?
Go ahead, Charles. Yeah, I love
We don't share, man. We don't like to share. So,
Coach, last year was your first year with Jackson State, but what has been the Mo Williams stamp on this Jackson State program?
Confidence, man. Confidence, mindset, knowing that you're the best. You prepare to be the best. We talk it, but we walk it. So, I'm talking mess, but I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
We are the best team.
Yeah.
We prepare to be the best team. We have a championship mindset, and our only goal is to win the SWAC. That's our only goal.
You brought Romel Mansell here and Chase Adams. Talk about their contributions to Jackson State.
Well, for one, both of those guys being out-of-state guys, Romel from L.A., Chase from Chicago, and most of my team is from Mississippi, and I have, quite a few that's from the inner city of Jackson. So to come to a program around, and I'm from Mississippi myself, so come to our environment and able to put their stamp and leadership in, and that's why those two guys are here. They do a great job of leading our group. Setting an example every day in practice, and we're big on our championship mindset. Our slogan is 2 dogs, 1 bone. So we live by that.
Explain that. 2 dogs, 1 bone.
I mean, it's self-explanatory. You put 2 dogs in a kennel and throw 1 bone in there. They ain't gonna share it.
Somebody got to get it. I knew where you.
Yeah,
no
I like that.
Our thing is it's 2 dogs, 1 bone. That's our bone.
Yeah. When you get into a game, it's 2 teams. Somebody got to come out victorious.
No question.
Why shouldn't it be you?
Yeah, they don't stop the game when it's tied up.
No, sir. With that being said, you talked about the confidence.
Yeah.
I like that. You played this game at the highest level. You've been successful at multiple levels.
Yeah.
In many ways. Explain to those that may not really add it up. Why isn't confidence important at any level in terms of life in a lot of ways?
Confidence, and obviously confidence in life. I have confidence to put this outfit on, put this hat on, right? I got because at the end of the day, I put a lot of work into everything I do. As far as how I dress, how I talk, how I prepare my ball club on how we getting better. It's always a championship mindset, so we try to be the best at everything we do. And if you're trying to be the best in everything you do, obviously what comes after that is confidence. And then once you get the confidence to do something, there's no limit to where you can be. I didn't play 14 years in the NBA without confidence.
No, sir.
I had to believe it. And I had to go out and put the work in to do it.
Sure.
Champion as well.
Sure. When you came in last year, were there any surprises when you take a look at the talent that's in the league?
Oh, no. I came from Alabama State, so I already knew this league was talented. Me being my first year at Jackson State, obviously, I had a whole new group. Kept a couple guys from the previous team, but I had a whole new group. So when you have a whole new group, you're putting in a new system. So it can get redundant when you're doing the same thing every day. But it's a reason we finished 3rd in the league. I think that we came along, especially when SWAC play started, and we just kept winning games. And we didn't win games by 20. We didn't win games by 30. We was in the game, and we executed, and we had games down the stretch where, Texas Southern, won our league, but, we going down the stretch, and we got to get a stop at the end of the game to win that game. Prairie View the same way, we had countless games like that, and we pulled it out. So that lets you know how together we were, because you don't win close games without being together. And we, like I said, we didn't have a lot of blowout games or wins or losses, so we competed every single game, and we found our way to win 13 of them.
Last question, as you get into it, because you got to get to the next assignment. Just tell us a little more in terms of the final thing, anything that you want to tell the listeners out there, particularly Jackson State.
Well, for one, we have a championship mindset, and our goal is to win the championship. That's it. Let's go to the NCAA tournament. That's our only goal. That's all we work for. I mean, it's going to be fun. You know, to all our fans out there, hey, just get season tickets. They're available right now. You know, we expect to see you guys in the AAC loud, and we're going to bring the energy. We're going to be really good. So we want you guys in the building.
No doubt about it. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.
I have to compliment you guys in terms of what they've done in AAC. The environment has absolutely changed over the past few years. It is a really, really exciting environment.
You bring confidence and flavor like yourself. It's hard not to get confident.
Ain't no question. That's what we do.
Doc, that's one of the best
Appreciate it.
quarterbacks in Lake High Coach history right there.
Gotta talk to him.
Yeah, we're going to tell you a little bit of history. I appreciate you, Coach. That being said, you know, it's fascinating to get a chance when you get to hear the coaches get in their confidence.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not just talking about that. We get behind the mic.
Yeah.
We do this live setup, rushing here, moving around, try to make sure we get the people on the road. We know a thing about confidence.
Yeah, you got to have, something beating in your chest there to do what you do on a daily basis. But like you said, confidence is a huge thing, and especially, coming down the stretch. So many times we see games where it's a possession here or a possession there, and you got to have the confidence that you know that you can either get the stop or put the ball in the basket. So I think that plays a huge part of what a lot of these teams want to get done.
Let's get back to it, man. I was so focused on football, and it's scary though, man.
Yeah.
You play 12 games if you're fortunate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Schedule 11. If you're really getting it done, you get to play the 13 games.
Sure.
But the season moves through so fast. We're already in week 5, and it's time to start prepping for basketball.
It is.
It's scary from the standpoint that means football is halfway gone.
Yep.
And then that means before you know it, we start basketball. And it's going to be gone.
And it, literally, we were at SWAC Media Day in Birmingham. It seemed like yesterday. And, we're 5 games in now, and now we're prepping for basketball. And then, we will get to that point in mid to late January. We got to start prepping for baseball because baseball started that quick. So, the clock doesn't stop. The seasons never stop.
Yeah, we had a lot of folks that have been clean coming in here. But do we have, coaching-wise, anybody can keep up with Coach Mo?
Coach Mo pretty sharp, man.
Hey, I'm not even thinking about it, but I'm thinking about getting me one of those.
Yeah, exactly. He got the chapeau there.
Hey,
He's
then he
looking
got the
pretty
red.
sharp.
He got the red
Right.
underneath.
He has
The beard and the hat.
As the accents work. Well, if you notice, Jackson State came in here with a lot of swagger to Coach Tamika Reed yesterday. Same thing, I'm sure that's what AD Ashley Robinson, he is put his stamp on the program.
No
with
doubt.
Swagger part.
That's not going to be an issue.
Exactly.
When you talk about that. And we'll keep going right along here as we get in there, and we'll see if we can mix in some other coaches here and there. Like you said, we got Texas Southern sitting on the couch here. You got Alabama A&M coach. He's finna go into the room and get prepped and ready for his stuff. Boy, I tell you, down to earth. What do you think about the uniqueness when you talk about the coach? All of them have their own confidence in different ways, but the different styles of swagger in terms of the coaches. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's what they bring to each institution. Their own DNA. And I asked Mo about his stamp. What is his stamp that he's putting on the program? So I think there is that uniqueness at each.
He said $2, $1 bone.
$2, 1 bone. I was like, let me hear about this $2, 1 bone.
I knew where he was going.
Yeah. But everybody brings their own unique stamp, and you see it within their recruiting.
Like you a city guy. Yeah. People think Jackson's ball. I know he from there, but when you get around the corner, sometimes
Pretty much.
spots,
Yeah.
You know a little bit about that dog.
Exactly.
You know when they doing the little whistles to the dog fight. Hey, coach. They don't look too far in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Be careful. We're going to make sure you stay clean.
Let's
We'll
clean
get you
that one up.
in terms of what that looks like. So that is amazing in so many different ways. What other things that you got on your mind? Any questions that you had just in terms of my thoughts on something?
Yeah, I always want to ask and inquire about style of play. And I think Mo touched on one of those things. I think a lot of times we see games really come down the stretch, and it's that last 7 minutes or so coming down the stretch where a team either fights their way back into it or they're trying to fight somebody off. And it's literally, it comes down to a couple of possessions here and there. So it's like, what is the mindset and what is the thought process with regards to, what you're going to run or who you're going to get the ball to down the stretch, and something fans can kind of hang their hats on, like this is what our team is looking at trying to do down the stretch here. So I think a lot of fans like, looking into that sort of insight in terms of what coaches bring to the program.
With that being said, let me ask you a little bit about this in terms of uniform. I've never thought about this because you used to seeing the two teams play, or you used to seeing the uniforms. Which the uniforms that you see the players as they dress up to go do their photo sessions, which of the uniforms that you unique or you like or stand out to you? What is the direction you go in uniform?
The FAMU orange and green. And I know Carlos, it drives him crazy. I know it drives Carlos Brown crazy, our colleague, but there is something about that bright orange that FAM brings in with the contrast to the green in all their uniforms. And, of course, they got the LeBron branding as well now. So that's a unique thing that the Rattlers bring to the fray.
With that being said, we're going to walk around and see if we can get head coach Texas Southern. We'll see where he is in between his breaks and see if we can get a quick interview about 5 minutes. But, yeah, it's something about that orange-green, and you talk about that powder blue. It'll be on Showcase Football this weekend in terms of a top 7 matchup. Boy, that should be fun. You can't get too far away from football. Tease that back in there. For those that didn't see it, we're going to do a showcase detail on that tomorrow in regards to the matchup for our SWAC game of the week. But we talked about the fact that this football weekend is huge for HBCU fans. You literally have 5 top 10 matchups. CIAA has one. Virginia State and Bowie, top 10 matchup. SIAC probably has one of the biggest ones out there. It's a top 3 matchup with the number 1 team going on the road to face the number 3 team.
Going on the road.
In Alabama, a team that is playing extremely well with a lot of confidence.
Benedict, are you going to bring your band? Let's get it all. Let's get the entire
let's
thing.
get the culture. Let's go. Yeah. You talk about it, and you'll need that band support in a game like that.
Got to have that 12 man,
and then we talk about the 3 SWAC matchups in the top 10, with that one being FAMU traveling to Southern. Tough news we're hearing there that the band is not coming, which is a sore spot for both of us in terms of what that looks like.
Very sore,
but then you have the Gremlins, an Alcorn game,
homecoming.
And the band is supposed to be there for that one.
Norman will be packed. The reservation will be packed. That campus is, when it's a huge game down there, it is an electric environment. So that's going to be a fun one with Grambling and Alcorn. And Grambling is a resurgent program now. They are starting to.
And as you always say, they don't stay down too long.
Down.
Is this the year that they really take the quick jump up, or is it going to be marginal? And we'll get to see in a lot of ways this weekend. Seen the start last week in Dallas State Fair Classic.
That's a big game.
Getting a little bit of the mojo back. And then we just spoke about Jackson. Jackson goes to Mobile. Plays Alabama A&M in terms of what that looks like.
Both teams got to get a win to kind of just keep
the pressure. Keep the pressure on there. Keep their hopes open in terms of a shot in regards to what that looks like for both teams, but particularly for Alabama A&M. They can find a way to get this and push through a couple more wins. Then not only do they have a shot, they have it in their control.
And that's right. I think FAMU comes to Huntsville this year. So that's going to be a huge one. They get over the hump with Jackson State.
And people forget, because of what Jackson State did on that inaugural season, what Jackson State did to Alabama A&M. The succeeding game was FAMU. Alabama A&M was really getting it done in that game for 3 quarters. They let it go in the 4th, let go of the rope, as you say, proverbially. Credit to FAMU for fighting weight and getting it done, because it ultimately was propelled them on their destination to play in the playoffs and keep the pressure on Jackson State. But a little different this year in terms of what they may look like. So I'm fascinated to see going forward. When we get back into some of this basketball talk, we get all excited in terms of this nature. Have you got a chance to get into the studio to see what they look or take a peek into?
I took a peek yesterday, and it's very impressive what the conference has been able to do in terms of utilizing this studio with regards to some games. But fully decked out, sort of information overload, if you will. That's the thing that caught my eye.
Follow-up question to that, Coach alluded to this in regards to he thought this was a major step for the conference
Yeah.
to do a full-on fledged media day.
Yeah.
And shout out in a lot of ways to Andrew
Mm-hmm.
in terms of mentioning this to the commissioner about that he believes they're ready to do this and he can put it together. And thus far, it's been magnificent. I hadn't heard any of the coaches, players talk about not being excited about this experience of doing the football type of media day that you see for basketball, up and coming conference in this recent age, if you will.
And we talk about it all the time. It's the experiences for the athletes. Like you mentioned, everybody was really excited that the basketball gets to that same level of attention that football has been getting. So that's one of the things that the players were talking about yesterday. They were really excited about, and they were, enjoying the atmosphere, if you will, of the camaraderie amongst the other players, but just sort of the big time feel of showcasing your sport.
Good stuff that you put there in terms of doing that. Yeah, when I first saw it a couple of weeks ago, usually I'm one of the first ones that kind of knew it. Took me back because we mentioned this maybe a year or so ago, talking about doing it. And previously, obviously, for a while, there was just the teleconference.
Mm-hmm.
They moved from the just the teleconference where they did video conference.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you come to a full-fledged, you fly folks in, you get them done in regards to this. And again, to remind those that might not have called us earlier, you got 3 variations where they're moving around and setting up that. You have ESPN Plus, which is a live showcase in terms of what's taking place there as Jackson State players coming in to join the head coaches. They're getting prepared for their ESPN streaming session.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the photo session.
Mm-hmm.
And you will look at the uniqueness. I love the fact that they had the players bring down their uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get them in a professional setting,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a polo shirt. Some of them are wearing suit jackets, blazers, if you would. But then you have the photo section where they're in their jerseys. So they get to act up and have a little fun, take some unique sections. Obviously, they make sure media can get in there. They have us doing the live streaming. They have the virtual interviews for folks that could not make it, media sources to get in to ask some questions about the local teams in the area. And then you got the big brand HBCU Go TV that is upstairs, if you would, in another session doing tape interviews that they'll show throughout the basketball season. So to put all these things together, I think is a significant step for the SWAC. Kudos again to Andrew Roberts, Commissioner Dr. Charles McCullough, in terms of what they're doing to continue to push the envelope to get things done.
No doubt about it. They're doing a tremendous job in terms of pushing the envelope. And I want to commend the social media teams for the various schools. I mean, because you can see, obviously, from the photos and from the videos here, they're doing a tremendous job of turning it around and putting it out there for their social media on their own platform. So it's a great look all the way around for each institution.
Good stuff. When you talk about that, it's funny as they looking for the coaches coming back and forth as you get it in there. All the different facets that you get to see in terms of the back of the scene of what it takes to coordinate this to make it go is fascinating too. So shout out to all those involved.
Dina Pooler doing a tremendous job.
What's going on there. Let's see if we can get Coach in here in a minute. I know he's in between interview. Coach, when you get back, when's your next session? You got about 5 minutes? Upstairs for HBCU Go. Okay. We got that, and so we'll keep moving around and see if we can stick them in there. All right. Sure. In terms of what's going on.
Pretty big.
In terms of what's going on there. taking a little intermediate coffee break as we going nonstop to make
Oh,
sure you
yeah.
can get some feel with all this information. With that being said, as we get going, I want to talk a little bit more in terms of the toughest place to play in the SWAC, toughest road game,
Ooh.
and you can either give your top three. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes you do that. You
Yeah.
can do top four since the conference expanded a little bit. You know, I
Sure.
like to look at 3 or 4. You can break it down into quarters or quadrants in terms of what that looks like.
I think one that is
Socially,
very
good.
underrated, extremely underrated, is UAPB. I mean, the fans, they sit on top of you, they get in your ear.
I like the most underrated.
When we've seen, you know, incident here or there up there at Pine Bluff, but as far as to me, sort of a throwback, old school gymnasium feel, the Baby Dome in Prairie View. I mean, I just love that atmosphere. It gets to rocking in there.
Oh,
and
man.
it becomes a very, very tough venue. We always talk about the Texas two-step, how tough the Texas two-step is. And
There's a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason. Whether you hitting Prairie View either on a Saturday or Monday night, and we see it, especially on a Monday night. Oh, boy, you can get caught on a Monday night up in the Baby Dome. So it gets rocking up in there on a Monday. It's like, golly. Boy, that's a long drive back to Houston if you done took the L. So.
I think H&P is underrated as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's so big that people think about it, but when they pack it and they
That's a
get
very
excited,
good point. Yeah.
it's intriguing because you get the atmosphere of the other team. So Houston obviously has a great enclave of alumni of a lot of the institutions.
Mm-hmm.
When you start talking about Grambling, Jackson State, and we saw the new kids on the block.
FAMU, yeah.
In terms of them getting in there representing.
Rattlers brought some folks
You
in
got
there.
both of these fans coming in there, and you get your exciting type game.
Mhm.
It can get very passionate.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have a rivalry game with Prairie View when they come up to the city.
Sure.
And so, yeah, right. You talk about the Baby Dome, but quietly, H&P Arena in a different
getting it
way.
done, yeah.
It's unique, and it's a reason this team traditionally does well in the season, but certainly in the tournament. With that being said, any thought process of Jackson, Southern, in terms of tough places to play? They used to be like that. Grambling is unique because you used to, and it's interesting because we get to talk about the old gyms,
Yeah.
the smaller handbox
Yeah.
gyms, and it's starting to change over. So it takes a different framework in
It does.
terms of what it looks like when you used to go to Grambling in a small matchbox. Texas Southern, obviously, when it had the old Adams
Adam
gyms,
Jim, yeah.
Alabama A&M in regards to what that looks like as you have media behind us getting into this
I've
conversation.
heard
in terms of
stories
that.
about
In Huntsville, they used to have the keys, the dog pound.
I've heard stories about Jackson State's old gym, Carnell Snake Warner going up and blocking shots and really turning out the crowd up and there. That's for the old school Jackson State fans. Coach Leland Redmond, I know he's listening to me right now, but
Nice.
especially back in those days, especially guys who were there when Purvis Short used to shoot the lights out of places. So.
Yeah, there you go. Also, you talk about Southern. It can be an intimidating atmosphere.
Yeah.
When those fans start to get in there, it
Paid a trip or two down to Southern for those.
can get tough. It can
Yeah,
get
it
tough.
can get real tough.
Best rivalry game in the SWAC right now.
Best rivalry game in the SWAC right now. That's a great question.
When I say right now, last maybe 5. You can go 10 years.
It's hard to get on top of Texas Southern Prairie View right now.
Right now, I mean,
Yeah.
because they've had success in the conference.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the only team that really broke up
Yeah,
the success of Texas Southern was
it's
Prairie View.
Prairie View.
That,
Exactly.
You know, 3-year run they had right
Yeah.
there to get it in there. So,
And they look so similar. There are seasons where it's like, you know, you can't really tell the difference
yeah, you
between
switch
them.
uniforms.
Yeah, you switch uniforms. I mean, but one of the things, you know, with Prairie View is they play such dogged defense, and we've seen Texas other teams that can score. You know, so it's always that great sort of yin to yang, if you will. And you know, I just when those gyms get to rocking, it's different. I mean, I put, you know, Southern and Grambling in there. Jackson State Alcorn is a good one. I'm sure Alabama A&M and Alabama State is another great one as well. But I tell you one that's underrated, and it's because they get up for Jackson State. But when they go up to it'll be take on Mississippi Valley, different place.
Talking about the place that
Different place.
Valley has a new gym
They
as
got a new
well,
gym
so
as well.
kudos in terms of what they get in there, what that's going on. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Give a little shout out, love. I had a chance to go check out Bethune-Cookman.
Okay.
It still has the
Super small gym. Yeah.
And they get in there and they bring the pep band.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the pep band has the mix of the Caribbean feel in the music in there.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
That's
if you're
nice.
not careful, you sitting up there googling to yourself the other team. You say, "Hey man, who you pulling for?" Oh, my fault. I just got excited about it.
That's pretty cool.
So that's a unique environment. So I imagine FAMU goes into Bethune-Cookman, that has to be an intimate environment where it gets gone real quick. In terms of what that looks like. So as we continue to kind of push forward and look at some stuff, look at a couple of coaches talking about that. Any difference as we sneak back a little bit in terms of the women's side of things? Are there different environments, matchups that get you when you talk about women's basketball side of those rivalries, or they're pretty much the same?
Jackson State and UAPB has gotten to be a very good one.
Yeah.
Coach Don Thornton, she's gonna bring some attitude to wherever city she
talking about
shows up.
somebody that likes to dress.
She likes to dress as well. Two
She
coaches.
was talking about yesterday trying to get to the outlet.
Two coaches very similar, who are fashion forward, but superbly competitive. The added backstory: Dawn is a Jackson native, played at Jackson State, but in a lot of ways, she brings teams. They look just alike. They are big front courts, steady guard play, things of that nature. And, they don't mind going after these McDonald's All-Americans. UAPB is bringing another one in this year to go along with Zay Green. So they got some talent. I think, like we talked about, those teams in the top three in terms of Jackson State, Southern, and UAPB. That's well-deserved.
Also, when you talk about Palm Bluff, it's in a unique position that it may not necessarily get the fanfare that some of the teams get. So they tend to also seem to play with a little chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And so it makes the unique matchups, particularly hunting the big dog, if you would, Jackson State, in regards to sitting at the top of that mountain. Somebody wants to find a way to push them off.
Sure.
Kudos to Southern, the big rival, got it done in thrilling fashion last second.
Yeah.
To talk about putting a little play back into that rivalry.
And Coach Reed talked about that being a wake-up call. I think that's you talk about a team that they've been on the top of the hill the past few seasons, but a team that's very motivated to get back out there on the court because that was a shocker. That shocked the world. Jackson State had a tremendous SWAC winning streak going. I think they really had only lost one regular season game in 2 years. Coincidentally, out at the Baby Dome, but in terms of that tough environment, but I'm looking forward to what Jackson State is able to put back out on the court because Coach Tamika Reed with a chip on her shoulder, that's different. She brings that extra something, if you will, to the conference. It's fun.
Yeah, some of the players have done a lot of these sessions, so they're getting much more in their comfortable clothes. And it's interesting to always see athletes as they change over and what they're going to wear in terms of what that looks like when they get to kind of dress down. Especially in terms of the shoe games. What are you thinking about some of the shoe games with the apparel deals that have been split, whether it's Adidas, Under Armour, or Nike?
Part. Yeah.
What have you seen thus far in terms of?
I don't even know what to call some of them. You see the different designs. I've seen a couple guys wearing a couple things up in here, but yeah, I'm looking forward to as a team what they are able to put out on the court this year. Look at those right there. See, that's what I'm talking about. Man.
Yeah, that's clean. You got a lot of clubs. That's golden lines that we just talked about on the women's side. The men's side, they kind of clean. I also like the fact Grambling got those shoe deals with Adidas, with
Adidas,
G on there specifically in the color coordinator.
We haven't even seen what LeBron is going to bless the Rebels with this year, so that's going to be. I like that.
No doubt about it. When you talk about what that looks like, it's going to be interesting when we start talking about these matchups and things of that nature as they're moving around. Coach Smith, he's getting back in here. Love the intensity that he coaches with in terms of mandating that his team plays with. What do you talk about, Coach Ivory in Mississippi Valley as he goes home? What do you think he's going to try to get done this year? Got a full year in the belly. What do you see there?
Yeah, those teams always play very hard. Valley over the past few seasons, we've seen them really shoot the three ball. I mean, they're going to put up some shots and things of that nature. So, what Coach Ivory, veteran of the conference, UAPB for quite some time, is trying to instill some of those same qualities in this Valley program. And Coach Ivory, he has a SWAC championship on the ledger as well. So what he's trying to bring to Valley is be very interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. I think getting in line.
Coach Ivory pretty sharp.
I told
with
you
the Valley bow tie.
Bow tie.
Yeah.
Like you ready to go. I pointed out. They got the green on.
Yeah.
Hunter green too.
Yeah.
It looks like it's over there.
Yes, indeed.
You know,
The Delta Devils.
all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sweet there. So let's see if they have pulled in. I know they're trying to tease us. We have to get with Andrew to see if they put out the updates.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, one of the things I'm really looking forward to, is really talking with the coaches about some of the new faces that have come to the conference and some of the needs that they felt like they needed to bring in and kind of get them over the hump. So those are the things that I'm really looking forward to. And like you said, I'm taking a look at the top 4 scorers from last year, and I'm like, we're going to have some new faces out there that'll be, trying to put the ball in the hoop this year because those guys have moved on now. So you're talking about some new faces that really have some golden opportunities at each of these respective institutions.
Yeah, good stuff. Again, when you're talking about those returning starters, what are your thoughts in terms, as we see in football, the transfer portal has been, really utilized in a different way to mix it up. We've seen that for a while in basketball, but it usually was the JUCO players. Yeah. And now you're mixing in some transfer players. How do you think that is affecting the SWAC HBCU in general?
Well, I think you talk with the coaches and they talk year in, year out about having to re-recruit their players. And it adds a different dynamic to it because I think you've seen that turnover a lot on the basketball side of things. And in some cases, you're getting, a 60, 70% new team. So you really do have to put that time in to kind of learn these teams at the beginning of the year, and they have to gel. And it's, who gels quicker, as they get to conference play. And, sometimes you hit on it, sometimes you miss on it. But I think that's one of the challenges, especially talking to coaches, that they talked about in terms of trying to get these teams to really gel as they get towards conference play. Yep.
Looks like we got Coach Smith in here at Prairie A&M University giving us a chance to bless him with his presence. Let's see if we make sure we get you on the screen there. We don't have no problems in saying that your Prairie fans there talking about we didn't treat you right in front of that. Plus, you're looking sharp.
Appreciate it.
Sure you
Yes, sir.
Coach, how you doing?
I'm hanging, man. I'm hanging in there. Just glad to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Glad to see you here.
Glad to have people that actually want to listen to you. So I don't get that a lot.
I don't know if that's at work, home, around the world.
Coach.
Oh man, yeah. We got you there. We got you. We'll take care of it.
Appreciate you.
Let's talk about first moving to this event where now we're doing live streaming for SWAC basketball, giving you a chance for the players to do photo sessions, moving to what we've seen for football in terms of opening things up. But now the basketball, men's and women's get a chance to shine. What are your thoughts about that?
I love it. I think that we're evolving as a conference. I think this is what mainstream intercollegiate athletics are doing. So we have a seat at the table. We always have. I think it's just been hadn't always been acknowledged. Mm-hmm. But I think this is good. I think this is makes the complete student athlete when you get an opportunity to not only show your physical prowess, but your intellectual as well. Speak and share your thoughts and things like this. I think it's great.
Let's talk a little bit about your team. What excites you about the team coming in this year?
Their energy, their enthusiasm, their willingness to want to be a good team and potential champion. That's what excites me. We've got players from all different areas and different schools, and mixture of JUCO, high school, and some obviously some portal kids. So, but they all have they're connected and they have one mindset, and that's to be successful. So that's what excites me, is that their willingness to be a good basketball player, a good basketball team.
I know in a lot of ways that's your focus. You look for that. When you recruit, what is the challenge to be able to see or talk with the young man and see if he has that or can?
I mean, there's always challenges, but you know what we do. I'm not the smartest person in the world, but I'm instinctive. I trust my instincts, and you know when we look for certain things. Obviously, when we recruit, and the biggest thing is now obviously being able to get them back on campus. For a while, we weren't able to do that, so I think that hampered us tremendously with COVID and things like that. But now we're able to get them back on campus and kind of look them in the eye and really go over, like, this is what this entails. This is what one of our best basketball teams were here at Prairie View. This is kind of what they did. So you can kind of get a feel, and you can judge by how they answer your questions and things like that. If they're attentive. So there's a lot of things we look for. Kind of old school, so I look for a lot of the old school traits and characteristics of players. But I really like this one.
Coach, let me ask this question.
So before you get into that, I want to tease a little bit. As we recruiting him, he didn't know this. You know, I get a chance, I go in a deep dive, I take it back, I go look at the transcript. Coach, both pretty sharp. He put in some work when he was in school.
No doubt, no doubt. Coach, one of the things we've been sitting here talking about has been sort of the roster turnover that happens year in, year out with college basketball. But how do you go about the process of sort of putting together a roster nowadays and really implementing what it is that you want to see out there on the floor?
It's challenging. Retention is kind of few and far between now in college athletics because of the portal.
Yep.
It's a challenge for all of us, but you know, again, we don't change in our core values and our culture. We stick to the same things, and we talk and we really push that and stress that you know, to the student athletes. There are challenges, but you know, again, you know, getting a quality education, what we talk about, coming to have a great basketball experience, and then, you know, transitioning out into everyday life and having a positive impact. Those are our core values as a basketball program. Me as a man, as a leader of this program. But more often than not, you know, we're running into a lot of young people that are about that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And fortunately for us at Prairie View, we're bringing in kids who haven't had a lot of success in terms of winning. Maybe they had the individual accolades of scoring, rebounding, assists, whatever. But I tell them that, you know, winning, it opens up so many doors for you. You know, even when you get out into the workforce, in corporate America, people are trying to structure their companies that of a team. Everyone has a role. So you're more marketable when you're coming out of a winning program. And if that's paramount, that's important, you know, you have a chance to do that here. And we sell that, we push that. And that's what we want to get back to. I think we can.
And speaking of your core values, one of the things that we were talking about is year in, year out, Prairie View is near the top of the league in terms of defense. But is it easier teaching defense or actually putting the ball in the hole?
It's way easier to teach defense because defense is a will, it's not a skill. Obviously, shooting the basketball is a tough skill. I mean, it was tough for everybody else, but it's easy. You guys know that. I'm one of the best at it. It's Steph and it's Byron.
So you're still the best shooter.
Yeah, without a doubt, Mr. Camille, without a doubt.
Still in the conference.
It pretty much, you know, Mo Williams and Reggie Theus, I mean, those guys, every time I walk past them, they look the other way. So I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it's just they're busy answering your phone. But defense, defense is easier to be able to teach because it's hustle, it's effort, it's a will, not a skill.
Talk about your schedule. What are your thoughts on your schedule this year? I know a couple of years ago, and as of late, it's been a little harder to get teams to get on the schedule and want to play you.
I think it's becoming a conference issue, not only a Prairie View issue. I think with, you know, Alcorn, you know, being very tough, and obviously Texas Southern and Jacksonville, everyone. I mean, it's parity across the league. I think it's difficult. I think it becomes a conference issue now, and I think
particularly after what happened with the
Pac-12. Absolutely. So I think Mr. McClellan is going to have his work cut out for him. They're trying to bridge some of these gaps in conferences and getting. But our schedule is challenging, just like every other school in conference. But I think it's one that we can string along some wins. You know, we can just be better that particular night than the other teams, obviously. But I think we've got some games on our schedule that we can obviously win and give us the confidence that you all want to have going into the conference.
Yeah, that light bulb really went off last year, especially with some of those Pac-12 games. And you mentioned parity. Has that parity, has it shortened, if you will, in terms of Power 5 versus mid-major?
I think so. I mean, with the portal being very important, you know, you can get there fast, or you also can take some steps backwards if you don't get the right mixture of guys. But I think in our conference, I think we've done a really good job. These coaches do a great job of, you know, scouting and using their relationships and making sure that they're bringing in the right players that fit what they're trying to do. So I think the gap has been narrowed, and I think it's better for college basketball for not to be so much disparity in conferences and teams.
Yeah. Talking about that, let's go on the road and have a little fun with this. In terms of what is your favorite place to go play? Obviously, love being at home, but if you got to go play somewhere in the conference, what are some of the places you look forward to? Whether it's the coaching matchup, whether it's the environment, what places in your idea, a place or two that get you excited, get you revved up in your play?
I would probably say first, Grambling. I'm a Louisiana guy.
That's fair.
My mom is right there in Bossier City, Shreveport,
Beautiful.
and she makes some of the best cakes and pies and dressing. And so for probably 2 weeks after we play Grambling, I get to save money because she packs a big deal for me and my players to take back. So I don't go about eating or anything.
Yeah.
So Grambling's first.
It's the little things. Yeah.
Texas Southern second. I always get to see, Mr. Cavil over there, along with, every other, person, that is in Houston. They just come out for that game. There's something about it.
We talked about that earlier.
Something about that night special. I mean, all the stars are in there. Byron Smith,
right.
Megan Thee Stallion, Kenyatta Cavil, all the celebrities are in there. So that's a great place. Southern, I like going there just because it's Louisiana and I have some relationships there. But I think all the venues are good places. We get treated really well. The other institutions, they welcome us. They make sure we're comfortable. They assist us in anything that we need. They try to make the locker rooms, accommodating for us to be comfortable and to be able to prepare for the game. So I like going everywhere, but those are just a few places I think kind of stand out.
Sure. I know you got to move around and you got to be just a segment. So last question, we'll leave it up to you. Anything that you want to share out there, whether it's your family, friends, PV alumni, who do you express yourself? It's open to you right now.
I'd like to say thankful to you guys, obviously, for having me. It's a great platform. You guys do a great job. Obviously, I'll keep up with what you guys do. Very professional and organized. So I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you guys for this platform, the conference. Mr. McClellan, I think, is doing a great job in really, raising the awareness and making the SWAC a respectable brand. Not that it wasn't, but I think we're just growing by leaps and bounds. And then just Prairie View Nation. I mean, obviously, they can be a little impatient at times, as you know, but they've been very supportive.
Yes,
and I just, the entire administration. So I think we're kind of growing as a group. But I'd just like to thank everybody for the support. It's been a lot of fun, and we are looking to get back to the top of the mountain in this conference.
No doubt. I know you're going to get there.
Yes, sir.
With that being said, it's a pleasure being able to work and share time with you. Certainly we'll be in Houston and get down on Saturday with Little Deuce. He loves coming down and see what you're getting done on the basketball. So he can't wait.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you with your time. I know it's very valuable. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. We talked about that. We got that out of the way first. We got that out of the way first. There he is. You see him right there?
Yeah, he's looking too. You said he was going to look.
Yeah, every time I tell you, yeah. I'm waiting. Appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you.
Coach.
He got Coach Bussy over there. We'll see if we can sneak him in here.
Yeah.
Maybe about 5 minutes to give us the time. Yeah, we got him. We'll sneak him in here. We'll get you here. We'll go get you live. We got you going. Come on in here. Get in. Coach Bussy, championship coach. I know that was last year or whatever. What are your thoughts going into the season?
Just trying to maintain success. Want to keep on building. Want to continue to get these guys headed in the right direction. Continue to practice hard, and everything else take care of itself.
With that being said, what you can tell, what is your secret to that success thus far?
Practice. Just try to make practice tough as possible. The intensity there every day. Make it competitive, make it hard. Just practice. Just try to get these guys practicing as hard as they can every day.
Well, you know I'm a fan until you line up, come down to Texas and the Prairie. The rest of the time I'm sitting up there, yeah,
I
appreciate support.
just want to ask,
Coach like this.
who is it?
Not need you to fan all the time.
Right.
It's always that.
Who is it that you brought with you here and why?
Jeremiah Kendall. He's a guy who was second team all conference this year, preseason first team. So he's a guy who's one of the leaders of our program. He scored the ball at a very high level with his back to the basket. And then DeKeaton Thorne, a guy who's been in this program now going to his fourth year, understands the intensity I want to bring. One of the leaders of the program, can shoot the ball at a high level and defend multiple positions.
How rare is it? You have a player in for 4 years. I mean, you really get to implement everything that you want to put in him.
Right, and same thing, I had another guy, Byron Joshua, who wasn't able to make it, but he's a guy who been here going on his fourth year now with me too. So just, thankful to them guys, sticking with the process. They're in the transfer portal, and, understand that, we got some unfinished business.
One of the things we've talked about is various venues to play here in the SWAC. But talk about when teams got to make that trip down to the reservation to play you guys. That's tough place.
Oh, yeah, it's a tough place. You got to stay, you got to stay an hour away for a hotel if you're staying in Vicksburg or Natchez. So it's tough to get down there for practice. It's tough getting down there for shoot around and going back and coming back. And it's already a tough environment, with the, kind of dim lights and so
lights.
Right. So that's the good thing that it's a tough environment coming down there to the reservation.
Let's talk a little bit about this event today. Obviously, you've been in the conference for a while, so you've seen things start in terms of doing teleconference, moving to a streaming platform. Obviously, had to deal with COVID, that perspective, and then what goes on with football with the media day. Now it's time for the SWAC took the next step for men's and women's basketball to have their own media day session in terms of ESPN Plus photo session, virtual interviews, and HBCU Go. What are your thoughts in terms of this event today?
It's amazing. I think it has been a great turnout so far. Just seeing all the athletes and all the coaches and, what the SWAC is doing for us as far as promotion is unbelievable. I think, like I said, I'm enjoying myself so far.
Good stuff. In terms of your non-conference schedule, you got a couple of big wins last year out of conference. Talk a little bit about what you put together for your non-conference schedule this year.
It's going to be a lot tougher. We got Arkansas, we got Maryland, we got Michigan State, we got Clemson, we got TCU. So, just want to, continue to test ourselves.
Okay.
Continue to go in, this role and, be tough. For the past few years, we've been really good in conference on the road. This past year, I think it was 8-1. I think last year before that, we was 8-1.
Yeah.
So our biggest thing is, finding a way to keep our same preparation, our same focus at home. That's when we tend to slip up.
Coach, what goes into putting those conference, those out of conference games together? What sort of goes into that?
It's been getting a little more challenging.
Yeah.
Yes, it's definitely more challenging. Just due to the transfer portal, you're able to get better quality players. And a lot of schools they don't want to get upset. But what I try to do this year, I try to play a few games closer to some of my athletes' hometown, so that family has the opportunity to see them. Of course, it's hard for them to get out there to Alcorn at a time.
Okay.
Like Jeremiah Kendall, he's from Bronx, New York. So we play Maryland, we play George Washington, we'll play VCU, which is all probably about 3.5, 4 hours from his hometown. And then I got a few other guys from New York and New Jersey as well.
In terms of your team, the conference overall, we've seen this thematic with a lot of the teams really being able to get down on the defensive side of the ball. Why is that important in terms of what you're getting done?
Because, for us, defensively, that's what we try to make the focal point is about our team. We spend a lot of time. We have in a 2.5-hour practice, probably about 2 hours and 15 in defense. So what I try to do as far as recruiting is just, find guys who can score the ball and make them play defense. So just trying to have a balance.
That's unique. So you look at scores, folks that can put the ball in
Yeah.
hold, but you can fix
Teach the defense.
The bench is gonna teach them defense. I ain't gonna teach them. I'm gonna tell them what they're supposed to do, but the bench is gonna make sure it gets done right.
Talk to the sisters because I'm gonna be out there coaching.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna find about 7 guys who play out this league. Find about 4 or 5 guys who put the ball in the basket. About 7 tough guys. So,
There it is.
And y'all gonna buy in to
Recruiting strategy.
Right? Oh yeah, the bench is gonna make them defend.
Last question. They got to get you out of here. So say anything that you need to say to your fans.
Oh, nothing. Just just thankful for the opportunity to coach Alcorn State men's basketball. Looking forward to have another unbelievable year. Hopefully this year we'll be able to get over that hump.
I'm excited what you're getting done.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And that being said, got your couple of coaches interviews in here. Test of the time, boy,
Yeah.
I tell you.
Yeah.
It's a reason to see why this conference has gotten better, stronger.
I know.
Taking the next step. What are your thoughts in terms of what's scary on?
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, these coaches that are bringing quite a bit to these student athletes' lives, and just picking their brain, their philosophies, their recruiting strategies. This was fascinating to get that insight.
Man, Champ is here. What's up,
How you doing, Coach?
How you doing today?
Good to see you, gentlemen. Come on, sit down here.
Yeah.
And get in here. Let's talk a little bit about this program. You've continued to build. You've had some exciting games. Tough place to play in Grambling now. There used to be a time where folks, maybe thought about, all right, I go to Grambling. We can get out of here and get us one. Not so much. Now folks are focusing. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot. I remember my first game we coached in. There was about 70 people in the gym. So, to see a couple thousand, 3,000-4,000 showing up at times is a big deal. So,
And they loud.
Oh, they loud. And they proud.
Yeah, very much so.
You help bring that
They're
pride
proud.
back. Let's talk a little bit about your team. Who's going to be in the mix? What are you excited about this team
Listen,
coming into the season?
We got a lot of people in the mix. The thing is, it's a different team. We lose Cam Christian, who was a all-conference guy for 3 years. Shadarius Coward, 2-year all-conference guy. And then we lose Cartier Gordon. So we lose almost 70% of our starter. But now that's just it's time for other people to step up. And that's one of the things, like I've been telling Tremichael Mullen, like, hey, you got to get back to that senior year of high school and looking to be offensive instead of just looking to be a playmaker. And, he's been a great job the last couple of years as being a playmaker, but especially in some of these environments to go in Texas Southern, the PV, Alcorn, you got to be ready to defend, because everybody got players. Everybody got players, but now you got to be able to defend as a team. So we're going to keep that mentality. We're going to keep trying to, push that over the top. But now it's just about our guys growing and our new guys coming along and being able to fill in those roles.
Let's talk a little about personality. This is where we get a little fun spot. Where is your favorite place to go play when you can't be at home, but you got to go on the road? Where's your favorite place to play? Why? It could be about the atmosphere. It could be, getting closer to home or something, or it could be just the.
My favorite place to go play is Texas Southern.
Share a little more. Why?
Man, our alumni come out.
Yeah.
And that game,
They deep.
and that
They deep.
and that our Houston alumni chapter, man, they come in, they show up.
Yeah.
It's always great to turn around and see our people up there and loud and proud and
G is deep in Houston.
and the thing is that game is always, for lack of it, it's always a great game. Like the atmosphere is incredible. It's a back and forth seesaw game. Whether it was Coach Davis to Coach Jones. I mean, they got tremendous players, and you come in there, it's back and forth and back, and somebody got to get out of there with a win. Somebody got to get out of there with a loss. You just hoping that you on the winning end.
Yeah.
So I just love that atmosphere because just as much as it's an away game, it's good to look up and see all your fans.
Sure.
I love it. Great point. And when we talked about those various environments, and that was one of the things that came out, is Houston happens to be unique with the size of the venue, but also with the city that has a lot of alumni. So, I feel you on that. I want to follow up about this place, and I'll let you jump back in there. Now you get the chance to do men's and women's media for the SWAC. Talk about this event, why it's important, how do you feel about it in regards to having to be able to showcase this here live on ESPN Plus? HBC Go is giving you interviews, photo session with the students. They come in dress, they get to go in the uniforms, and you can still get your virtual interviews from your local media.
This is an incredible event. Incredible event. I really appreciate the SWAC putting this on and giving us the opportunity to showcase our basketball programs. And it's also a good opportunity to see our guys without it being recruiting, see the other coaches, because usually you see them as recruiting.
Yeah.
Business.
It's camaraderie.
Yeah, it's game. Business. Now we just kind of outside of, just all the playing elements, and everybody can kind of just relax and just be their natural self without it being a competitive situation. Sure. And except for Coach Williams, he's making it competitive already. He ain't a competitive already. But hey, it is what it is. I got to talk to more about all this stuff.
Hey, man, you got to go back into my closet.
Yeah, like, okay, Bo, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, okay. Coach, we talked a little bit about the parity in this league and how really you get in those last 5 minutes or so, and it could be a possession here, a possession there. But from your perspective, I mean, from top to bottom, talk about the parity that's in the conference.
Like I tell people, night in, night off is not a day off in the SWAC. And, for whatever reason, I tell any coach in the country, you play us on a neutral side, you're going to have your hands full in this league. And I don't care what team it is.
Yeah.
Play these teams on the neutral side. I mean, I just really feel like the SWAC Pac-12 Challenge proved that.
It did.
When you get those home games, you get those big-time home games in those environments where other teams got to come to you, it's a different difference. It's a different atmosphere for those other teams because they ain't used to seeing somebody stepping on the sideline, or they ain't used to seeing a cheerleader shake that thing and all that other stuff, the different cheers they have. Yeah. Then you turn around, you really just embrace the fact that we have quality programs and we have great coaches in this league. So night in, night out, you have to prepare. If you're not prepared, and like you said, it's the possession part of it. Like I tell our guys every day, every possession counts. So when you start coming to the end of them games, execution is everything. Yeah. And I tell our guys, hey man, we got to focus, we got to execute, we got to have effort, and we got to have discipline. And that's what I tell them, they got to feed themselves every day.
Good stuff. It's huge. Talk a little bit about the classic matchups, where now the unique thing about those matchups, you're playing, in this case, you all were playing a conference foe, but it was away.
Yes.
You had the All-Star game. This year you're going up to Michael B. Jordan in New Jersey to play that game. Your thoughts in terms of those games being in the move and what that does to the program, and also the uniqueness, Chris Paul, you set up where sometimes you're going to get a chance to play teams out of the MIA. HBCU, similar framework, but also a conference opponent. Yes. What are your thoughts in terms of those kind of games?
I love them. First off, like the NBA did a phenomenal job with us in the All-Star game. I remember talking to Coach Kevin Brodus from Morgan State, and I called him to ask him, man, what you think about this? What you think about that? Because we was giving up our home game against Southern, and for us, that's our biggest recruiting tool. You want to bring kids in, packed house, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people in the gym. Yeah. Everybody ready to rock and roll. It's a raucous atmosphere. Yeah. Big time recruiting environment. You can sell just about any kid in the country. Sure. Well, you turn around, you losing that game. But that game being the way the NBA did that game and the things that game did for us, it made us a household name across the country.
Interesting.
Okay.
So now people get to see you, whether it's ESPN2, NBA TV. It was showed on so many media platforms that it was just like an incredible thing. So now you're walking and you're talking to people, and they're like, and I say, okay, on the NBA TV, man, I appreciate that. Or you get people to text you that normally don't text you or whatever the case may be. And now even coaches, maybe from other schools outside of the SWAC, they're paying attention because it says a big time atmosphere. So, I don't want to lose, don't get me wrong, we don't want to lose home games because at the end of the day, home games are important. Just for our fan base and just for our students to feel comfortable and their families to be there. But to be able to be in venues of that magnitude is like the gift that just keeps giving because they're taking that gift on throughout their life. That's an experience you can't do. That's true.
That had to be a fun conversation with your AD in terms of giving up that game.
So he comes in, he's like, yeah. So Dr. Scott comes in, man, the NBA want to play. What you think? I ain't gonna get a game if you don't want to get a game. And I'm sitting there thinking, to myself, like, I can't say no, Doc. can tell the NBA no. Like, they say no. So it's like, all right, no, so it was cool. Like, we just went through there, and I was just like, man, and that's when I called Coach Brodus, and he was just like, listen, man, I would do it 10 times over. And to be totally honest, I would do it 20 times over. And it's just not even just the game day experience. It was just everything leading up to it, from the professional development for our student athletes, from the career opportunities for our student athletes. Because like I always tell our guys, it's bigger than basketball, and you can go pro in a lot of different things in basketball. It ain't always just got to be playing. You can be a pro in something else, because I always tell them, the ball gonna stop bouncing regardless.
It don't matter who bouncing. The greatest was just the bounce flat.
Yeah, so it's gonna go flat.
What about the Michael B. Jordan? Are you playing one game up there?
Just one game. Just one. We play Jackson State, so tough one. We go up there, play Jackson. I think it'd be a quality game.
Last year, I think they had like 12,000, 13,000 fans.
That's great.
Exactly.
I mean, because
I looked up, I was like, I'm gonna try to get up there.
Listen, man, with
I'll be sure
Grand
that he said something like great.
that's my
day
That's my people. Well, I mean, I think it's going to be a great situation, because with us in Jackson, I think it's going to be a tremendous game. I think Jackson has a really good team. Coach Williams has done a great job with what he's building over there. And, we got to go up there and we got to go show and prove.
Who's giving away the home game?
Jackson. Yeah, that part.
The last thing for you, because I know you got to be able to move, and you got your head on the swivel in here trying to get everything done. You can share any last thoughts with your fans, family, alumni, anybody you want to talk to. Go ahead.
Man, Grand Fam, let's show up and let's support this year. We're going to have something special again for you. Look forward to seeing you at all the games.
Certainly. Appreciate that, Nico.
Appreciate you. Have a good one.
Man, it's fun when you get in there with some of these interviews with these coaches. You get to see the other side, real side.
Good insight, yeah.
To see what's going on. So we're going to continue to move to get you some interviews here and there. Some of them getting a chance. They brought in lunch, so they're taking some breaks for some of them getting a chance to get in there. So you'll see a little bit about that. But as we get back to it, what were some of the thoughts that you talked about? The interviews that we've had since fall, what has kind of stuck with you?
Actually, just talking to Coach Jackson about, the opposite side of looking at that, in terms of, giving up that home game, but the benefits of giving up that home game to play in the Michael B. Jordan Classic and all the ancillary benefits that came from that. That was a very interesting tidbit, to kind of find out the inside workings, if you will, of schedule.
Man, you got a legend.
Oh, right.
How you got?
I'm doing well.
Oh, my fellow Murrah graduate here. Yes, indeed.
Doing good.
We got Charles Jackson Murrah. I get to smile.
See the Jackson long time.
All day.
Yes,
Coach, how you doing today?
doing good.
What are your thoughts in terms of the season? This first time you get full.
I think it's going to be a pretty interesting season. I think we're going to be an exciting basketball team. I think we're going to surprise some people.
He didn't went to work.
That was a
piece.
Wry smile there.
Cut pieces in two.
United SWAC, you never know what's going to happen.
You never know. I promise you never know.
We'll start off with this before we get into some more of those technical questions. You've been with the SWAC in various ways for a bit of time. Yep, 40 years?
Started in 1983.
Wow, look at that. So what are your thoughts on where it's come now, where you have your own media day, bringing in the players and a chance to talk, ESPN Plus, HBCU Go interviews, with us phone sessions. What are your thoughts on this event?
I think it's great. I think this is great for the conference to be able to have something like this for basketball. Like I said, over 40 years, and to see it just steadily grow as a conference, it's outstanding. And then, with a commissioner like Charles McCollum, he's going to steadily make it go higher and higher. So this has been very, what's the word I'm looking for? I ain't breaking big words, but really good for me to see the conference grow like this.
It's official right there.
Yeah. I mean, what is it that you're looking to really kind of stamp on this ballot program in terms of trying to get you guys over the hill?
But one thing we got to do, we got to get back in, and we got to get back to making sure we understand what we're in college for. We're in college here for academics, and that's one thing that we're trying to install in these young men. I think our academic staff is doing a great job, and we push them every day to make sure that, hey, you know you can get a degree and you still, if you have an opportunity to go play overseas, it's great. But that can nobody take the degree from you.
Sure.
No. When you talk about that, and you're rebuilding the program, if you would, do you start defensive side first, offensive side first, or is it some mix between? What are your thoughts in terms of, as you went in architects already had, where did you want to start rebuilding this program?
Well, I want to start,
Outside of academics, as you said first and foremost.
I want to start on the defense side. Because I thought that they could be a tool for us. If we're kind of slow with the offense, your defense always can be there. You know, to win games, you know, it starts with defense. You know, defense gonna win the championship. You know, offense for the fans.
Yeah.
You know, but if you can stop somebody, you know, we're trying to make it worse. Like I start on the defensive end first.
No doubt. Talk about this fact. As you said, 40 years. So you've seen the changes in SWAC. This last iteration is been in the now you have a third family. What are your thoughts in terms of expansion, and what is it like when you get a chance to play those teams?
Well, I think it's great for us to get an opportunity to go to Florida, to play Florida, don't cook with FAMU. You know, in the past, like they did playing football a little bit around the SWAC. We played, I think, a couple times basketball, but it's just a great brand to bring to the league, Florida, and Bethune-Cookman. And we can't do nothing but, like I said, just growing, man. It's just, when I see what Charles is doing and where we're going with all this, it's just amazing.
You mentioned your 40 years, and it's very interesting because you're kind of at the forefront, especially with regards to Jackson basketball, with the explosion of players coming out of the city of Jackson. I wanted to ask you a little bit about that in terms of what you've seen from Jackson, Mississippi, in terms of the players that have really sprouted, not just in this conference, but all over the nation. And a lot of people don't know about, you know, how we talk about, you know, Jackson being, you know, kind of in a football state, but it has produced so much basketball talent. And you're part of that.
We talk about that a lot. I did a lot when I was in Pine Bluff. I was telling them how the state of Mississippi got ranked one time as per capita one of the top basketball areas around. Because look at, you know, like say even Jackson, Merle, but other schools also had a lot of great players. So it's just been great to watch. You know, you come up and you still be bragging on the players from Mississippi.
Yeah.
I was in Arkansas, you know, you see three high school kids get drafted in the NBA right out of high school, out of Mississippi. I don't know if any other state has done that, but it just shows you tremendous level of basketball has risen in Mississippi. But, you know, I think it's continuing to grow as you see, you know, other little towns come up as Germantown, you know, get players like Sam Funch's son.
Oh,
He's
okay.
one of the top kids in the country.
Yeah.
You know, 10 of them grade. You know, so
I remember Sam from Merle, yeah.
And, you know, you see those guys that played in Merle go on and be lawyers and stuff like that and be successful. And so it's just been a tremendous thing to watch the growth of Mississippi basketball.
No doubt.
Absolutely. You clean with the suit and that. I really like the bow tie. That's a good look.
Appreciate it.
Talk about who you brought with you and why.
I brought Raekwon Brown, guard out of Georgia. I brought Danny Washington from Greenville, Mississippi. Raekwon to me is one of the top 10 defenders in the SWAC. And, you know, I've seen magazines when he was picked second team, and you know, he's a guy that can do a lot. He can do a lot. You know, for his posting up, shooting the three, play defense. Danny Washington is a guard that can lead by example. Great point guard. So you know, Danny a great leader too. So it's a chance for us to bring these guys to something like this. I think this really made them
Open them up.
they enjoying themselves. And I thought it was really good, man. Just meet everybody, see everybody. for these young kids to get a chance to come get on this stage and get used to being interviewed. Get used to being interviewed.
How's the coaching fraternity with SWAC? Has it changed any, or is it still similar to what you've seen today?
Well, I think it's still close. Everybody communicates and understand it's a business. Ain't no use nobody being mad at each other because it's just business.
I like that. With that being said, last question to you. I know they've been pulling you and moving you in different directions. Why don't you better share any thoughts you have, whether it's with family, friends, alumni, whoever you want to speak to. Time is yours.
Well, I just want to tell them thank you all for having me sitting there talking with you all, and
Appreciate it.
because this is a great moment for these young men and myself to come down here for. I think this might be the first time SWAC ever did this, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
believe so.
So this is the start of something great.
That's huge. Yes, it is.
Appreciate you getting here, Coach.
All right, appreciate
Yes,
you.
Abby. Have a
Hey,
good one.
homeboy.
All right.
All right.
Charles know all the Jackson.
Yeah.
With that being said,
We thick.
Want to mix around? No, yeah, Coach. I know Coach will be.
The announcement made.
All right, come on.
Oh, no, I'm eating. I'm
He gonna put us to work.
It's on Twitter. It's on Twitter. That's where it is. It's not on the website.
Did you put it out there? All right, we're gonna give you announcement of the players of the day as we look it up. Let me see if I can find Chris's stuff out here. Trying to get him and put it in where he said no. I'm gonna eat.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he can give us the stuff before he goes to go eat.
He gonna put us to work. That's
I
how
know.
we've been working all day. Business. If I can find one.
Yeah, we'll pull it up at some point.
With that being said, yeah, here I got Houston Round Review, Rockets. Take a break.
We'll get that update.
Yeah. With that being said, it's on the website. Let's see, we just
See if I can refresh the website.
we checked that and didn't get anything earlier. Oh yeah, preseason award. Predicted order finish. This is where it gets good. I got you. Let me start with this. You listen as you pull it up. For those that are following us and hadn't heard it yet, top 12 teams order finish. I'm gonna start at the bottom and go to the top. Mississippi Valley State, 30. At number 11, Florida A&M Rattlers. And that's Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils, obviously. Florida A&M Rattlers at 97. 10th spot goes to Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions at 105, but they did get one first place vote. Number 9, Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, 107. At number 9, Alabama State, 121. At number 7, Alabama A&M, 140, one first place vote. 6, Prairie A&M University, 151, one first place vote. 5 is Southern Jaguars, 153, one first place vote. Number 4, getting to the top 4, Jackson State, 213, three first place votes. And number 3, and we've interviewed these 3 coaches. Alcorn State, 214, two first place votes. Number 2, interviewed coach as well. Brown State, 233 points, 4 first place votes. And number 1, preseason, shouldn't surprise anybody.
Right.
Texas Southern Tigers, 240 points, 10 first place votes in terms of those looking at it. Before we get into the players and things of that nature, what's your thoughts in terms of the ranking?
Very interesting. Now, after we've talked with Coach Jackson, Graham said he mentioned 70% of his scoring is gone. And they come in and they have a number 2 ranking, so are predicted to finish second. So what is it that they know that we don't know as of yet with regards to what Grambling has done to replace that scoring?
Mo Williams say that it means you believe in the coaches.
Yeah.
Mo said that. Anybody that's most out of order that you think that you would say should either be further down or should be further up?
Purview needs to be up there a little higher. Sort of surprised that they're at 6 because I would expect them to be somewhere in the top probably top 4, I would think, with regards to Prairie, because, like I said, that's a team that's going to D you up. And if they can find some scoring anywhere, they're going to get some wins. But Alcorn being right there in the mix, regular season champion last year. Grambling, I'm sorry, a couple of years ago, but in Grambling, you know, you can make an argument that it's gone according to what a lot of social media pundits thought in terms of where teams would be slotted thus far.
I'm a little surprised that Arkansas Pine Bluff being down there low. I like what they tend to do. Obviously, there's some changes going on there. Also intriguing to me that Southern is probably that hot with the new coach.
With the new coach, yeah.
Obviously, they lost a little bit of talent. I've heard they brought in some good ones, but usually you don't see a new coach that gets picked that high right out the box. So that's a little interesting to me in terms of what that looks like. That being said, I'm going to let you give the players of the year, preseason player of the year defense. Let's go through that first. You said that likely it would be Texas Southern, but I won't give it away. Go ahead.
Yeah, preseason pick for player of the year, P.J. Henry from Texas Southern. Preseason defensive player of the year, Jordan Smith from Grambling State.
Maybe that's part of what they see.
That's part of what they see, exactly. Let's take a look at the preseason All-SWAC first team. Zion Harmon from Bethune-Cookman, Jeremiah Kendall from Alcorn State, P.J. Henry, we just talked about him, P.J. Henry from Texas Southern, Chase Adams from Jackson State, point guard from Jackson State, and Kylan Milton from Arkansas Pine Bluff. They round out the All-SWAC first team. Preseason All-SWAC second team, Ramel Manziel from Jackson State. He's been walking around here. Ken Evans Jr. from Jackson State. Joe French, you mentioned Arkansas Pine Bluff. You expected
Joe French transfer.
Joe French, yeah. From Bethune-Cookman to Pine Bluff. Antonio Madlock at Alabama State. And preseason All-SWAC second team, Jordan Smith from Grambling State. So he has a preseason All-SWAC selection, as a second team member and also defensive player of the year.
Good stuff. Anything stands out to you? First team, second team, or preseason player of the year, defensive player of the year?
3 players from Jackson State, first and second team.
Yeah.
You know, I think that speaks a lot about what they have coming in, or at least what they have bringing back, I should say.
That experience that they're talking about. Yeah.
And you mentioned Joe French, transferring from Bethune-Cookman to UAPB. That's going to be interesting to see him in the mix over at Pine Bluff.
Yeah, good stuff. Interesting when you talk about Texas Southern being number 1. They believe in what coach does and who he's bringing in there. They might not know who it is because they only have P.J. Henry, preseason player of the year. He's that talented, obviously, first team. But you don't see any other Texas Southern on this list. 12 teams, it's tough to get into 10 now. I will say that.
Yeah.
It's a little different when you look at it from that perspective, the number of teams, but still, Texas Southern
And
only has one.
we talked about P.J. Henry in the tournament. Get this, average 18.6 points in the tournament last year. I mean, there were times where we just saw him put that team on his back, and deservedly so, you know, in terms of coming in preseason offensive player of the year. I think his health will be key to this Texas Southern team this season.
Yeah, with that, we're going to bring Chris back in, Houston Round Ball Review, get his perspective. He was really looking to see what would be the order of finish, preseason players. So now we get to talk to our basketball guru, if you would, in terms of aficionado. Chris, Houston Round Ball Review. This is your top 10, 12. Yeah. What are your thoughts in terms of what
it had been announced like an hour ago, but we didn't know it until 5 minutes ago. but it's all right.
That's why we got you doing the homework.
Yeah, so
we appreciate it.
But TSU being number 1, we're not surprised by that.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of fun. I guess we should have known. Coach Jones kind of yelled out. He and Coach Williams were exchanging discussion before the show.
Right.
And Coach Jones was like, have you seen it? And he's like, no, well, you're not going to like it. Well, TSU number 1, Jackson State number 4. So I'm pretty sure Coach Mo was going to be like, well, bulletin board material.
Yeah.
We're going to be, you know, they picked us 4th, not 1st. It's all fun. You know, Doc, I'm not big on preseason polls. It's good for conversation. It's good for us in the media
I'd love
to talk about it. You know, that's
but you're right in terms of coaches and what it really means. It's nothing that, and we do the poll rankings, you know. We'll do our own preseason rankings in terms of 12. We'll list all 23 Division I programs. We'll break up and give you the top Division II programs and NIA programs. in basketball, both men's and women's. We'll give you our rankings with that. That'll come a little later as we get further down the football schedule, so you can really highlight and see it. But with that being said, when we talk about what's taking place in basketball, I asked Charles this question. Who do you see maybe too high in terms of what you're hearing coming back?
I agree with y'all. Because didn't Coach Jackson say they lost 70% of their scoring, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And be picked second? That's respect for him. That's a lot of respect. But 70% of your offense, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and still, because you're bringing in newcomers and folks you haven't seen, and then producing.
Look at Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, look at coming in. How you doing, sir?
Hey, the food over here.
Yeah, on this side. If you know, on this. Okay. But I mean, our top three was pretty accurate. We had 3 of the 4.
Yeah.
You know, well, actually, we had pretty much the 4.
That's
TSU, Grambling, Alcorn, and Jackson.
That's
So
what we said.
we know our stuff too. Everybody watching us on social media. So yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. We know a thing or two. With that being said, preseason player of the year, PJ
Henry. Yeah. Not surprised.
Both of y'all said that.
Not surprised.
Preseason defensive player of the year is Jordan
Not
Smith.
surprised. Yeah.
Grambling, and maybe that's part. Maybe they think they could be able to do a little more defensively.
They were number 1 defense last year.
And we noticed, at least Charles noticed that there were 3 Grambling players in terms of the top 5 teams when you look at it. What are your thoughts, anything on preseason, all first team, all SWAC, second team?
I like Jeremiah Kendall, for sure. You know, listen to Coach Bussey and what he's established, and establishing a program, and that's key to sustaining success. Is bringing in the players and having them fit your system and what you're trying to do. And I love what he said about the bench and defense.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that.
You know,
He said, no, the bench
can teach defense. Because basically, you got to score, but if you're not going to play defense, you're not going to play.
Yeah. Coach Ivory talked about starting on the defensive side.
I love
of the ball.
that. Yep.
Coach Smith talked about the defensive side of the ball starting there. Coach Jackson talked about
Which is kind of a surprise from Coach Smith because he didn't play much defense when he was he was an offensive player. That was not his thing. No.
Bussey say he gonna find some folks to put the ball in the hole. I thought that was interesting too. It's just seeing the dichotomy of different coaches with different philosophies, how they recruit to try to get things done.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to fit your system, but in the end, offense is good, but you got to get stops to win championships, and part of that is rebounding, because defense is not finished until you get the rebound. You can play good defense for most of the shot clock, but if you make a miss, if they get the old board and still score, then you didn't get to play good defense.
Good stuff. Any follow-up question you have?
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at it, I think one of the questions was like, was there a team that you think should be higher?
I heard you say, CB, I heard you say Prairie View.
Yeah.
PV kind of 6. Not overall, because I kind of see them middle of the pack right now, preseason, because they're not sure what they're going to do come SWAC play.
Sure.
And one thing all the SWAC teams have to do is deal with non-conference, and if they struggle in non-conference and lose some confidence because of who they're playing non-conference.
Is there a team that you look at now that you think should have a good faring in non-conference schedule?
Well, as long as you're not playing, I heard Alcorn's schedule. I was like, oh my goodness, coach, that's a tough schedule.
For anybody.
For anybody.
Yeah.
And then for an HBCU school, that's ooh. But I'm not. TSU schedule is nice. Prairie View is rough again. You know, if you all understand why. But if Alcorn can just maintain, and be competitive in those games and just keep their confidence, come SWAC play, they'll be right around that again.
Interesting. Good stuff. When you think about that. Any final thoughts as you make your rounds? I don't know if people understand when we talk about basketball. Not only have you been doing it in terms of history since the 80s, but the fact that you make your rounds. You go to the Final Four, men's, women's.
Right.
You go to 3-4 conferences, and I'm not talking about when the conferences happen to be here in Houston or Dallas. I've seen you take off on the planes and get out to when they're in various locations. Why is that important, and why have you made that basketball the impetus of what you're going to follow?
I love basketball. You know, in a football crazed city, the football crazed state, I got to get in where I fit in for hoops. And especially on the women's side, they don't get a lot of attention. And they've got more attention lately,
Right.
which is good. But for a long time, the women's game was undercovered. And I try to do my part to do that. And just on Monday, I was asked to participate in 2 more national awards, women's scale, to be a voter. So now I got 3 of those to do. So appreciate that. Thank you. So I'm glad to be here at SWAC. Monday, I'll be at the American in Dallas. And then week after, I'll be in the Big 12 at Kansas City. Basketball, this is my time of the year.
Yeah.
I look forward to this, and I love it. And you realize that there are so many, just in the city of Houston, we got Rice now in the American, Houston in the Big 12, TSU and PV in the SWAC, HBCU in the Southland. That's just in the city of Houston, conference-wise, and then you expand that to state of Texas, other conferences as well. So there's a lot of hoops to cover, so I'm here for it.
No doubt.
Good stuff. So we're going to get ready to take our first break, but before we do that, I got a couple more questions. What's the biggest thing that has surprised you so far, or really has stuck with you in terms of the 2 days of events that you've been out here?
The setup. I love the setup. The DNA Studios, I like how it is, and we talked about it. It's a new facility, but down the line, I could see us coming back here. When we blow up, all of us blow up and be successful and then come do shows here in the studio, it's going to be set up for us nicely. So I'm looking forward to that. And salute to the SWAC, Dr. McClellan, for embracing technology. We've known Charles for a long, long time. He's always had the vision to be a leader and to make the SWAC and HBCUs, give them the recognition that they deserve. And the platform is there. Technology is there. Look at what we're doing today. It's great to see. Years ago, you couldn't do this. This way, and reaching the audience, reaching more fans. I posted pictures of you guys talking to the coaches. Already got likes on them already, on Instagram and on Twitter. So it's great. It's great to see it. And as I like to say, onward and upward, because we're still going to do big things going forward.
Good stuff. With that, any final thought as we take our first break? We'll see maybe if we can get a couple of other coaches in here. We'll come back on the other side and kind of close out the day if we're able to get some more coaches in. But this top of the session, as we get into our first break, been here since 10.
Yeah.
Really getting it in,
Yeah.
getting stuff. A long-winded, but a lot of good passion, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, it's been tremendous getting insight in from the coaches in terms of how they look at their team, how their philosophies, things of that nature, and some lighthearted stuff as well. So coaches being so forthcoming, stopping by here, and the respect that your program, Dr. Cavil, inside HBCU Sports Lab has around this league. Coaches don't mind stopping here because they know it's going to be great interviews, and also going to smile as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I appreciate that. Let me do this. Let me shout out AD Drew doing production in the background. Obviously, extremely important to get that done. As you alluded to, Chris, we come on this side of the camera, but in terms of those that have poured into us to allow us to be able to understand the technology we can get to do this. Shout out to the SWAC for giving us the opportunity, the platform set up, trusting us to be able to make sure that we get their vision and their information out along with the coaches that you talked about to get their voice and showcase them. And shout out to Roy, the College Sports Network, that has put the network together to give us a space that specializes in what is our passion. So thanks to both of y'all. We'll take our first break. We'll come back on the other side, give us a little time, and we'll give you a couple of more things for the SWAC after that. We'll be right back after this break.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum designed for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Dr. Cavil's inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We're here in Humboldt, Texas, just a greater part of Houston, if you would, at DNA Studios for the men's version of the 2023-24 season SWAC Media Day. It seems like the coaches have really enjoyed it, talked highly of the event and said it was good at the conference is taking the next step.
Yeah, it's been a good experience. Like you said, coaches, both women and men, they've talked about how good the experience was, not only for them, but their student athletes as well.
I just want to say thank you for getting in here and yeoman's work.
Thank you.
We try to get it in there. We try to squeeze in, get everything done real quick in like 5 minutes, and we're back at it.
Yes,
you talk about the power break. We thought football was tough.
Woo. Man, this is getting it
in. Imagine if we tried to do this next year 2 days. I have to prep myself.
Exactly.
Get even more about it.
And to shift mid gear from football to basketball and just get yourself mentally up for that. So,
we got Stephon, legend here, SWAC legend, multiple schools in different ways and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Stephon, you want to join us? I know you.
I can't. You know, y'all supposed to say I can't eat, so I might as well eat.
We're going to give you a chance to eat. They're going to make sure you get something. Okay. They want to come back and usually get taken care of when they come to Texas.
Well, you know, really, I came over here to visit with Andrew Roberts' dad.
Oh,
yeah, so that's why I was trying to get up there. He came to see Andrew. You know, he's from San Antonio.
So we drive over. A lot of things going on. That's beautiful to hear, to see that, and bigger view to take care of that. What are your thoughts in terms of, you've been involved with the SWAC, multiple schools over multiple years. What are your thoughts in terms of this iteration that the SWAC moves to basketball media day? Both men's and women's, officially at a studio, streaming it. You have ESPN Plus Live, and HBCU Go doing taping stuff. You have us here. You have photo session. You have the virtual interviews where the local media can call in. What are your thoughts coming out of the sports information side? Now you're over marketing, ticket sales. From that perspective, as people speak on social media, tell us, somebody boots on the ground, what does this look like and what does it mean?
I think it's a great thing. I mean, you know, we're into the 21st century. You know, we have to do things a little differently than we did 15, 20 years ago. And I think this gives not just the media an opportunity to talk to the players and the coaches, but it gives the fans an opportunity to hear what the coaches got to say, to hear what the players have to say, get them geared up and ready for SWAC basketball.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
You have been involved with the SWAC Alumni Association. I wanted to talk a little bit about the SWAC Alumni Association in terms of what they do and what they're about.
Well, the SWAC Alumni Association was really created to kind of honor the heritage. Mm-hmm. The people that came before me and you, to recognize them for their achievements that they've done, as well as not only doing that, but at the same token, to turn around and to help raise scholarship dollars. And what they do is every year, we know there's some fifth-year students, athletes out there who have not finished their degree, and they're not playing anymore, so they don't have a scholarship. So they need a little money. So the goal is to help raise some money to get those people, those fifth-year people who may need 6 hours just to finish, to help them cross their hump.
Yeah. That's big when you talk about the biggest picture at this college level.
Right.
Is the fact that you want to get the students to finish their degree. I want to thank you because you introduced me, and now I'm a member. So it's good to see the work you're putting in there as administrator. Get a chance to do some of my work behind it too, in terms of the matrix mix of how do we take it to the next level. And with that being said, just give you a couple of minutes to talk about your thoughts in general in terms of this upcoming season.
I think as it has been the past couple of years, SWAC basketball it hasn't been at the point where you just got one or two teams that really dominate. Now there's a lot of parity. So, you got about 4 or 5 teams that are up there, and any one of them at any night can get you. So it's not, when I was in school, we had, it was 1 year it was Grambling, Alcorn, 1 year it was Southern, Alcorn, and 1 year it was Jackson, Alcorn. I keep saying
I'm about to say, you.
There's a little purpose for this. You do that. Last thing, you can say anything you want to do, and if you would get coach and tell him you're ready for him to come in there. What are your last thoughts?
Go Tigers!
I'll grab you something. Food that you would.
I will.
Tell him you're ready for it. As we get into it, man, it's one of the things that I'm passionate about doing is connecting those dots. Looking at our legends, whether they're players, which obvious for a lot of folks, but also the administrators, the coaches, right? Those that often are behind the scene that we may not necessarily think about that much, to give us little thoughts in there too. So fascinating to see what that looks like in regards to being a sharing the time. What are your thoughts when you get to see these folks, legends as we talk about, and they share the mic with us?
Yeah, it's important. It's important that there's a platform for them to
get in on our stuff. How much you gave y'all? Coach said, if you can't get coach, you can have us. So we said, take over. Man.
Oh, man.
We say, let's get behind the sign people. Coach, how's it doing?
Doing. So how's it going?
How's it going?
Oh, everything's well. Really excited about obviously what they've got going on here today, Media Day, and interacting obviously with having a chance to see our guys here in a little bit different light. It's been a good experience, and excited that this is something that the league decided to take on and be a part of, and so it's been good.
Yeah, I bet it is. We've really been able to see behind the scenes, hadn't been able to share everybody else's, just how much the coaches really are having fun with each other. And oftentimes it's game day, and obviously respectful, making sure they come in and get practice, or school may need that. You take care of all this, but this is one of the few times y'all get to kind of come together,
right,
and relax with each other and pay respect, have some fun, and talk noise as well.
Yep. Well, the good thing is it's a great camaraderie between the coaches in this league. All of them do a tremendous job, but it's a great deal of respect by all. We get an opportunity to interact, see each other a little bit during the summers in terms of recruiting trail. Then during the year, we have a chance to see each other, and because of how things are set up, with women games or whatever prior to, have a chance to visit a little bit. So it's good interacting and seeing these guys and being around. And this certainly is a little bit different than what we've had an opportunity to do in the past.
Right.
It's generally, I guess, because of COVID, things are virtual, but you having a chance to be face to face, and it's been a good experience for us.
All right, small talk is over. Time to get into it. Or did you want to do some more ball?
Well, no, I mean, I was ready to get into it.
I could tell.
Coach, another season. Texas Southern picked to finish first in the SWAC. You pretty much wear the target on your back, either whether we're talking regular season or tournament. But the preparation in terms of going into the season, knowing that you are the hunted. I mean, what goes into the preparation for the season?
Well, I tell you, our guys during the summer, we work extremely hard, and it's easy for our guys because through the recruitment process of it, and entering, it's about to start my 6th season. It's easy when you walk in our gym, we point up, and you see the banners up there. They didn't just go up there. It took a lot of hard work, time, and energy to get into it. We feel like we've done a tremendous job of recruiting the caliber of guys that are on our team. They deliver the message to the new guys coming in, what hard work it takes to hang those banners in terms of doing the off season in preparation and plan, and then into the season, what we're going to put up with and tolerate on and off the floor. And those things, when those kind of things happen, it's not only the coaches talking, but key guys in our program talking, and the way that they carry themselves, the way that they act. And we've been very fortunate to have key guys continuing to return from our team. So we're familiar with working, whether they pick us first or wherever in the league. Texas Southern, the history, the tradition of the program, people understand it. So people are always going to play extremely hard against us, and that's something that we're prepared for in the preseason. The same way, it's not that we're sneaking up on teams, because we've had some success during the preseason against some of the top teams in the country and Power 5 schools, and the same thing happens in our conference. Our guys know that going in. They know how we have to prepare, how we have to get ready, what we're faced with. So we'd much rather have the target on our back, and then we have to respond to that at the end of the day. So it's not something that we run from. We actually run to it.
Let's talk a little bit more about those pieces. Obviously, you brought P.J. Henry with you. Talk about who else you brought with you, as well as some of the new players that people can get excited
Well,
about.
P.J., we're really excited for him, his hard work and being able to play off. He's been the conference tournament MVP last couple of years, and then to be voted preseason player of the year is something that we're excited about for P.J., and I'm sure he is too. Today as well. Kenny's done a tremendous job there at Louisiana Tech, shooting over 60% from the field. He's going to be a tremendous addition to our team. Jamar Young, 6'11", 250-pound transfer from University of Memphis, going to be a key guy for us that we're looking forward to. And Jonathan Cisse, who transferred from Incarnate Word, averaged 17 points a game last year. That's going to be a huge addition to our team this year. And then we've got a tremendous core of guys that returning that played maximum. So a lot of minutes last year because of injuries to the team or illnesses. When you start talking about Kobe Granger coming in the role that he played, Terry Smolty as a freshman, played a lot of minutes for us, and Keelan Farouk, who played from the 1 to the 5 last year and had to play a lot of minutes. And those guys were key in us winning the championship last year because of the experience that they got early on from injuries. When we got to tournament time, the depth was there that we needed at that time.
I think it's fascinating when you talk about that, because a lot of folks look at the transfers you bring in, but you bring in a group of freshmen, and now those freshmen, juniors, that have learned and built their body. And so it's fascinating to see how they'll be in the mix. And they got that experience by far last year. So they could be just as dangerous as well.
Well, especially like Keelan. Keelan's probably grown maybe an inch and a half, put on maybe 15 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I talked about Shakir O'Neal, who hadn't played a lot for us, but he was a redshirt freshman last year, grown maybe an inch and a half, put on maybe 15, 20 pounds.
Sure.
So those guys are looking forward to making an impact on this team. So those are the reasons we're excited. We had, I thought, issues last year because of the lack of depth on our team. now with the core of guys we've got, we lost 5 guys last year, 3 starters, returned 7, but the 5 guys that we brought in, we feel that's going to really impact our team in a positive way.
PJ Henry as a player, what type of tone does he set for this team? I mean, we watched him over the past couple of seasons, especially in tournament play. Really put the team on his back at times. But just going into the season, what sort of tone setter is he?
Well, I always alluded to, I'm a basketball coach, but I'm a football fan. And when I talk about point guards, I always tell people in terms of PJ Henry, the point guard is the quarterback on your team. You can have tremendous receivers. Your running backs can be great. But if you don't have a really good quarterback, the guy that can signal call it, that can put guys in the right place, get the ball to the people in the right areas, the right time, or if you don't do certain things, that they can load up the line on you and you run. PJ is one of those guys that can settle all that down for us, and he's done it. He's been our quarterback. He can score from all 3 levels. He can shoot the 3. He can get inside the lane. He gets the ball to the right people in the right places and give them an opportunity to score. So everything starts out front with him, and he's certainly the engine that really drives our team. And I think people saw that last year when he was down probably the first 7 games and was injured and did get an opportunity to play the first 9-7 games of last year during conference play.
How much did your team grow, especially during that time where he was injured and you guys kind of, worked through it, and all of a sudden it seemed to come together come SWAC tournament?
Well, during that time, the team grew and I grew older. Playing with that because it's difficult in terms of preparation and getting ready because of what he brings to our team and the way that he plays and what we look forward to. And I think people saw that. But again, we had to move Keelan Farouk to the point guard. He'd been playing the 4 for us during that year, and he got minutes there and was able to play. And then other guys had an opportunity to really experience that, and it was difficult for us last year. And when he came back, that's when we went back on to our winning ways and winning basketball games and really coming into our own and making plays. So PJ meant that. He was that tone setter. He was that guy. And he certainly made the difference for us. And our other guys seem to even be more confident when he's on the floor. But his ability to score and create mismatches and getting the ball to the right people in the right places that they can score, he's capable of doing that. So having him back this year is certainly going to be key.
Beautiful thing. I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about scheduling. Obviously, I believe probably with your relationships, you're able to get some things done, but being able to get some of these key wins that you've been getting of late, particularly Pac-12 home win, has it been harder, easier to schedule? What are your thoughts on that?
It's always difficult to schedule for us, and unfortunately, we only get finished with our schedule in the latter part of the summer because teams are trying to find other games besides possibly scheduling us, putting us on their schedule, and it makes it extremely difficult. They're trying to find out who we're going to get maybe in the transfer portal, who's playing, who's leaving us. So it makes it difficult at the end of the day. And we've been very fortunate over the years to go into Florida, win a game, go into Baylor, at Texas A&M, so at Oregon. Last year, Pac-12 team coming in here is Arizona State. So we've had that type of success. So teams are very leery of trying to schedule us early on, which, we know we're going to get games, and it's nothing that we fret about and nothing we're going to apologize for at the end of the day. So, but we're excited about it, and we've got to schedule.
You have to hit redial when you call some of those teams sometimes.
Well, ain't no sense in hitting redial. They ain't going to answer. They usually answer nope, and is there anything else you need to know? So but, but our scheduling coaches have a very difficult time in trying to get games.
Finish that part of scheduling. Obviously, last year you got to take part in the Chris Paul Classic.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you allowing me to tag along with you and get that done. But you're going back there. Talk a little bit about that experience, why it's important to you, and how it worked out.
One, it's a tremendous classic. We want to thank Chris Paul and his organization, his family, and his for putting this on. And it gives us an opportunity, one, to go play against some, again, stiff competition at a neutral site. in preparation for getting ready. And the teams that we play are really top tier teams, and it's a tremendous. I thought they did an excellent job of taking care of the 4 teams that were there last year. The arrangements in terms of hotel, the travel, the meals during the time there, and the experience that the guys had. It was excellent, and everything was business-like. So when they called at the end of last year and offered us the opportunity again, we certainly jumped at it because it's very difficult for us to get games like that in the preseason and have an opportunity to play. And so we thank Chris Paul and his organization for doing it, one, and just being a part of HBCU. A classic like that, it's great, and I thought it was great for our fans. And a lot of fans from other teams were able to show up and come out there, and we're looking forward to that again this season.
Last question.
Well, Coach, I wanted to ask, in terms of just we talked a little bit about the parity in the league in terms of what you see from top to bottom. How difficult is it in this league, Saturday, Monday?
Yeah, I tell you, it's extremely difficult. There, as I tell you, in every conference I've been in, it's no different. And you can't take a night off in the SWAC. It's always going to be a challenge for you. So, I mean, from top to bottom, and regardless of where somebody's ranked or whatever, when you put your uniform on, when you get out there on that floor, and when you throw it up, you've got to try to be at your best that night. Because on any given night, anything can happen, and we know that. And you've got some tremendous coaches in this league. The guys do a tremendous job in preparing their teams. They do a great job in terms of recruiting to their program. And so it's a challenge every night that you go out there on the floor. So when you're in the SWAC and you have an opportunity to play, that's why we feel like we've had some success during the postseason. We've been able to win the last 2 out of 3 years in terms of in the NCAA tournament and playing game because of the schedule, the grueling schedule that we've played in the SWAC.
Well, Coach, we've seen the ring, so the champ is here. We're going to give you a chance to have the last word. Whatever you want to say, we don't want to get in the way of that. Make sure we acknowledge that. But in all seriousness, if you want to share something with family, friends, alumni, the mic is yours.
We're certainly excited about this opportunity this upcoming year. One, we've been fortunate enough to win 3 championships. We're very fortunate to be in line, to be prying and pushing for another opportunity this coming season. 2023-24 season is going to be a challenge. Looking forward to our Tiger fans coming out and supporting us and being behind us. This could be a tremendous year for us, but we certainly need our fan base continuing out, being a part of what we're doing and looking forward, okay? Thanks so much for your time and attention, and go Tigers.
All right, well done, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
That being said, we're about to wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
We got the top 5 of the top 6 coaches. We got a chance to spend some time with a couple of coaches had to get out of here to kiss some planes, and we'd even give you more of that. But with that being said, I think we've done a yeoman's work. So again, I want to thank you for doing it. I want to shout out G-Boo on the background, making sure that things were going well. So we appreciate him as well, even though he was on the phone. I started messing with him. You can't be on the phone right here. Everybody in the conversation. You got to work with him on the production side. A little bit. But with that said, go ahead. Tremendous event. Like you said, got tremendous insight from the coaches in terms of how they look at the league, philosophies, some insight in terms of their own personal as well. But SWAC has done a tremendous job. Yeoman's work in terms of putting this together. I think all the coaches and the athletes have been really pleasantly pleased. Good stuff. As we start to come to the close, again, we'll give you a wrap-up in regards to preseason All-SWAC first team, All-SWAC second team, starting with the All-SWAC second team. That was Romeo Mansell, Jackson State, Ken Evans Jr., Jackson State, Joe French, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Antonio Madlock, Alabama State, Jordan Smith, Grambling State. Preseason All-SWAC first team, Zion Harmon, Bethune-Cookman, Jeremiah Kendall, Alcorn State, P.J. Henry, Texas Southern, Chase Adams, Jackson State, Killen Milton, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Preseason Defensive Player of the Year, none other than Jordan Smith, Grambling State. Preseason Player of the Year, P.J. Henry, Texas Southern University. That is the 2023-2024 SWAC Men's Basketball Preseason Award. The predicted order of finish on this side was number 12, Mississippi Valley State, At 12, 11 is Florida A&M 97, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Number 10, Bethune-Cookman 107. At number 8 is Alabama State 121. At number 7, Alabama A&M at 140. At 6 is Prairie View A&M. At 5 is Southern. At 4 is Jackson State. At 3 is Alcorn State. And at 2, Grambling State and Texas Southern. We have none other than Arkansas Pine Bluff head basketball coach. Welcome to the show. How's it going today, Coach?
Man, bless. It's going good, man. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you. Good to have you. Coach, got off to a really great start last year.
Yeah.
Didn't quite go your way at the end. I think some of it was injuries. So talk about who you brought today and some other pieces that you've added to the puzzle.
Yeah, it didn't go to what we planned last year. We lost 9 straight. I think we went on a 5-game winning streak. So we bring back 9 guys from last year's team. You know, I think retention is key. And we added 4 new guys, man, that's going to help take our program to the next level. So I think last year, man, we were inexperienced as far as we only had 3 guys that played in Division I games. And so now, man, we bring back guys that understand, you know, what I want, you know, understand what our staff is looking for on a day-to-day basis. And like I said, we added 4 new guys, man, that can really play. So we're excited about this season, man, and we look forward to it.
Who'd you bring with you today?
Joe French is here. He was the preseason player of the year last year, coming from Bethune-Cookman. And then Rashad Williams is here, 6'2" point guard. He set out all last season. Can really score and shoot it. And he can get it done, man. He averaged 19 a game in Oakland a couple years ago. So those are the 2 guys that are with me.
I like what you're building. I think what you put up early last year was like a call and saying, we're coming.
Right.
And so talk about a little more. Is that defensive first, offensive first? How do you kind of build the framework of your program?
It always starts on the defensive end. You know, you got to be a good defensive team. We got to be a good rebounding team. But I'm excited about this group because this group can really score. We got shooters. But, you know, those guys who are shooters are not one-dimensional guys. Like, they can all put the basketball on the floor. They can get to the paint. They can make people better. So I think we got some of the best guards, not only in the country, but in the SWAC as well. So, I mean, we're excited to get started.
Before I let you in here, we had discussions in terms of best places to play, toughest place, and we kind of let the coaches determine what that is.
Right.
Before I ask you that question, I want to let you know. People talked about covering the Pine Bluff.
I said that's a tough play. I said that's a tough play.
Most definitely, man. I would say our home crowd, man. I think Pine Bluff, man, the city, man, really gets behind us, and they really come out and support. And our fans, man, are rowdy and they bring a lot of energy.
Yes, they do.
And, you know, and they stay on the opposing teams, man.
Very much so.
I mean, hey, man, I love our crowd in Pine Bluff, man, and we want our people to continue to come out and support, not just us, but the women as well, because I love what Dawn is building.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we're excited, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Nice tandem.
Yeah.
A tough road trip.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Coach, you touched on something I was curious about, and you mentioned retention. With 9 players coming back, especially in this day and age where we see a lot of roster turnover, but just that retention piece and adding Joe French to the framework, going down the stretch of games, what do you think that means for this basketball squad?
I mean, I think it's going to help us a lot, man, because, like I said, we got 9 guys back, and they understand what losing looks like, and they understand what winning looks like. And anytime you can add a Joe French, who is efficient as he is as a shooter and a scorer, it just takes your game, it takes your team to another level. And Rashad Williams he's the real deal too. So, I mean, we got guys, man, that can fill it up and get it done. And those guys are starving. Like they're starving, man. So it's gonna be a fun year.
I like the energy you bring to the game as well. With that being said, I want to talk about that as we kind of talk about when you get on the road.
Right.
What are some of your favorite places to go? And it could be because of the environment, it could be because you're going closer to home, or you know people in the area, or it could be just the city itself. What place or 2 in the league is your favorite place to
Man, I like going to Jackson. I like going to Jackson, and then of course coming here to Texas. man, when you play Prairie View and Texas Southern, both of those teams have been really, really good. You know, so man, I like coming to play against the best. So, but those fans, man, here they can get rowdy too, man. So they can let you have it as well. So I like coming on this Texas swing too.
I love that about the SWAC when you talk about that. Charles.
Well, I mean, I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you wanted to tell your fans out there, especially in regards to this upcoming season with UAPB men's basketball?
Just come out and support. We're excited. We've been working hard. Guys have been putting in extra work, so it's going to be an exciting season. It's going to be a fun season, so come out and support. Then I want to give a shout out to all the guys we got overseas, being able to take their game to the next level. In my 2 years here, man, we've been blessed to have 6 guys play at the professional level and sign contracts. Yeah. And it's always a dream, man, for these young men to be able to play at the next level and their dreams come true. So we're excited about that.
I'm glad you shared that because it's important to let players know when they come to Pine Bluff SWAC that there are opportunities if you get in there and grind and get it right. And the fact that you have the relationships to put them in position, if they do it the right way, do the right thing, that opportunities will come their way, whether it's professionally or, when I say professionally in terms of playing continued basketball or professionally off of it in terms of other angles. I would be remiss if I let you go without asking you about the opportunity to see the SWAC move in this direction, where you move from a virtual type of setting where now you get to come, what you see from the football side with the media day now, men's and women's basketball, the SWAC has their own media day. Right here where you had multiple sessions, you're on ESPN Plus Live. Obviously, you have the photo session for the students. I like what people did. They came in, you had dress, attire, got in their uniforms. You can see the players really got into it. Banner between the coaches was really good. You also have the virtual, so your local media can still get to you, call you in, do interviews, as well as HBCU Go. And then you have us having the ability to stream live. Talk about this environment, why it was important getting this going.
Man, this has been big time. I mean, this has been, big time, because last year was, virtual, but having everybody here, I mean, getting to see everybody, getting to be on ESPN Plus, HBCU Go, guys taking photos, it just lets you know the season is right around the corner. And, you get to look your competitors in their eyes, man, and let them know, man, like, everybody's been working. Everybody's working for their one common goal as far as getting that SWAC championship. So it's been an honor, man, to be here. And we've enjoyed it, man. I hope the SWAC continues to do it.
I'm with you on that.
This is big time, man. This is a blessing.
Thank you,
Coach. Congratulations. It's a blessing having you here.
Appreciate
seeing the work
it.
that you're doing, keep building. We're excited about that. You got a program. You're building something there.
Yes,
to the point where it gets a little nervous when you come on that Texas swing over here.
Oh yeah.
Here they come.
Most definitely. So man, we gotta keep working.
No doubt about that. Again, appreciate your time and having that. This is Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We continue to build and continue to get it done in terms of some of these interviews. We're going to stick around just a little bit to see if one or two other ones, Coach, want to get in there. We want to make sure we take care of SIDs. Shout out. Appreciating you getting that in there and making sure we had a chance to talk with the coach. So with that being said, any additional thoughts you have on those top programs? You see where Pine Bluff was picked. I'm not sure about that.
I'm not sure about that one.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. It is what it is, though. We ready, man. We've been working. It is what it is.
With that being said, we'll keep it going, keep it moving in terms of what that looks like. Let me ask you about your thoughts in terms of moving forward to the next session as we continue to build out this process here.
Well, I think the coaches, they've touched on it, how great an experience it's been. We've talked to quite a few of them in terms of their enjoyment here with SWAC Media Day from the women's and men's perspective. So I think this is all around a great look for the SWAC and a great look for the various institutions in terms of getting their brand out in front of the nation.
With that being said, we're going to close it out. I told you about these top programs. We gave you the predicted order to finish. We told you our analysis breakdown. Got you in with some of the coaches, some of the ones to keep your eyes on, the moving and things of the nature. We talked about, obviously, environments and things of the nature. With that being done, this is Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab special edition of the lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop as we are here in Humble, outside of Houston for the 2023-2024 SWAC Men's Media Day. Thank you for checking us out. Hope you enjoyed the interviews and conversation and dialogue. Check you out. We'll be back live tomorrow as we give you a traditional Thursday show of Inside the Lab. We get into some big-time matchups. We have, obviously, some games of the week. We'll take you through the SIAC, CIAA, the SWAC, and the MEAC with some major games, top 10 matchups, some even top 5 matchups. Get it here first as we bring Charles and Mike to let you know what's taking place. See you inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Class lecture dismissed.
Dismissed.